Goals, plans, and Akatsuki? Naruto's POV. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I am 10 years old. I am also the son of the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze. However, despite the fact that I am the son of the Hokage, people hate me, and all because of my eyes. There is an elongated pupil in the center, and circles extend from it. They look like ripples that form when you throw a pebble into water. And the eyes themselves are red, like blood from Tomo 9. Because of these eyes, everyone hates me, even my parents. I don't exist for them. For everyone, I'm just a fool from a village hidden in the leaves. In reality, this is just a mask that I wear. A mask that I will wear until I escape from this damned village. 3 months later, Naruto walked slowly through the snowy Konoha. He loved to walk around the village, especially in winter. Here again, Naruto looked at the trees that were covered with snow, which made you feel like you were in a fairy tale. Due to the fact that Naruto was staring, he crashed into a strange red-haired man with an onion, rinnegan if anyone didn't understand, instead of eyes. He had the same eyes, except for the color and tomo. The stranger also looked into Naruto's eyes. It would seem that they were playing a staring contest, but in fact they were studying each other. The stranger was tall, as already mentioned, had red hair, and was dressed in ordinary hiking clothes. After 5 minutes of silence, the stranger spoke first. Hello, my name is Uzumaki Nagato. Your eyes are interesting. I think you have already noticed that our eyes have similarities. Interesting. It turns out that we are relatives because I am also an Uzumaki. Uzumaki Naruto. Boy, if you don't want to leave with me, I'll teach you how to use the power of your eyes, and the fact that you're my relative only strengthens my desire to be with you. What do you say? Naruto thought about his words. After all, if he leaves the village, he will automatically become a criminal. But I don't want to stay here, anywhere but in Konoha. After all, he was already tired of enduring looks full of contempt and hatred. The only ones who did not treat the boy with contempt and were not afraid of him were Itachi Uchiha and Shisui Uchiha. They were sworn brothers and therefore were constantly together. After 5 minutes, Naruto finally decided to give an answer. Okay, but I need to say goodbye to my friends. You don't have to worry, they won't say that I'm leaving with you. Meet me here in 2 hours. The red-haired man only nodded at the boy's words. Naruto ran as fast as he could. He had to make it to Itachi and Shisui. After 10 minutes of running, Naruto came across 2 brunettes who were walking and happily talking about something. Itachi, Shisui, we urgently need to talk face to face. The brunettes just nodded, and in an instant, the 3 of them found themselves somewhere on the outskirts of the village. What did you want, Naruto? Asked Shisui. I'm leaving the village. I wanted you to know. And I'm leaving because I'm tired of the village's attitude towards me. Forgive me, guys. It's okay, Naruto. We understand and do not hold you back, but where will you go now? Itachi. I met my distant relative. He has similar eyes. He promised that he would teach me how to use them. And if you want to visit me, then use your call. I think he can find me. Nagato and I will soon create a new Akatsuki organization. Wait, what kind of organization is this? And why create it? Asked Shisui. As I already told Akatsuki, it will consist only of traders from their villages, but we will all be one family. If you suddenly become Nukenin, we will gladly take you in. And now, I have to go. Bye, Itachi-san and Shisui-san. Thank you for not looking at me with contempt and hatred. Thank you for the fact that I lived and did not exist. Naruto ran away. He ran away so quickly that the 2 Uchihas didn't even have time to say anything. Naruto ran to where they agreed to meet Nagato. The boy knew that he would not return here again as a resident, that he would destroy all the ties that bound him here. The realization of this thought made him sad, but at the same moment he felt so at ease. He didn't even notice how he ran to Nagato. You've come, Naruto. Creation of an organization. You've come, Naruto. Yes, Nagato-san, I'm here, the boy answered. I think we still have time, and I think it's worth spending it on getting to know each other better. You're the first, the red-haired man answered cheerfully. Naruto began to tell Nagato about how he lived, how he was treated. He also talked about his sister named Ami. He said that the whole village loves her because she is the daughter of the fourth Hokage, the greatest shinobi of our time. Naruto also did not forget to mention their strained relationship. That Ami hated and despised Naruto most of all, because with his weakness, he dishonors the name of his father. The boy said little about Kushina, only that she treated him more gently than Minato. Naruto said that he has friends. Their names are Itachi and Shisui. They are from the Uchiha clan, and in general, they are one of the most powerful shinobi of the village. After 40 minutes, Naruto had finally finished listing the things he liked and didn't like. No one cared about them. No one was looking for Naruto. No one was watching him. After all, today was a holiday. Everyone was already busy, and keeping an eye on the boy was clearly not part of their plans. Well, Naruto, it's time for you and me to leave. Most likely, leaving the village will not be so easy. Even though it's a holiday now, I'm sure that we won't leave so easily, said Nagato. Itachi and I will help you with this. We know how to get out of the village and still leave calmly. It's not for nothing that we are Anbu, said Shisui, coming out from behind the tree with Itachi. Shisui, Itachi, I'm glad to see you, the blonde said and ran to hug his friends, either goodbye or because he wanted to. Okay, this is not the time for tenderness, Naruto. Let's go, Itachi commanded, and the four silently moved east. Already standing in the forest, two brunettes began to say goodbye to the blonde. Whatever you say, Naruto, Shisui, and Itachi became friends very quickly. It was hard for them to say goodbye. Naruto told them that he was very glad that they became friends. Thanks to Itachi and Shisui, calmly left the village. No one even noticed that the Hokage's son was missing. Although if he did notice, he hastened to forget about it, because let's be honest, no one cared about the blonde. Naruto and Nagato slowly. But they were surely moving away from Konoha. Naruto had mixed feelings, because his only two friends were left there. But it was too late to change anything. Naruto firmly decided that he would leave Konoha once and for all. After 2 days, Konoha, Hokage's office. Hokage-sama, Naruto, your son is missing, reported the ANBU fighter in a bear mask. What? At the same time, a blonde and a red-haired man were still walking at a decent distance. They became very close friends during the trip. Nagato said that in a day, they would reach the place where Konan would be waiting for them. Nagato, who is this? Naruto, this is my childhood friend. Someday I'll tell you about this, but not now. Right now you're not ready. Fine. Naruto often asked Nagato when they would train. Although Naruto was smart, he was only a child. When Naruto once again started talking about training, Nagato suddenly started a conversation. Naruto? What? What do you want to train for? In order to protect what is dear to me, to protect you, Shisui, Itachi, and Konan. I may not know the last one, but judging by your stories, it is very dear to you. I'm sure she's not a bad person. Nagato didn't answer. He thought about the boy's words. He was glad that the boy was looking for strength to protect what was dear to him, and not to take revenge. A day later, Hokage's office, Konoha. Upon learning that Naruto was missing, most residents rejoiced. The Hokage, as soon as he found out that Naruto had disappeared, at first thought that he was simply hiding. So he sent a couple of ANBU to comb the village. But when Minato realized that the boy was not in the village, which means he was outside its borders, the Hokage began to worry. He sent several ANBU to search for Naruto, but there were no results. By this time, Nagato and Naruto had already met Konan. Naruto involuntarily began to stare at Konan because she was undoubtedly beautiful. It seemed to Naruto that it was the angel himself who descended from heaven to them. Although Naruto didn't understand yet, he fell in love with Konan, completely and irrevocably. Hey Nagato, maybe you can tell Konan and me about your plans. What kind of organization will it be? What will be our goal? And in general, who will we recruit there? Naruto asked when they came to the cave where Nagato and Konan lived before Nagato left for Konoha. Patience, Naruto, patience. First we need to train you, and then we will split up and go invite the new Kanin to join our organization. Hi, Leader Sama, Naruto said jokingly. Konoha, Hokage's office. We couldn't find Uzumaki Naruto. He is nowhere to be found, reported the ANBU in a raven mask. Free, Minato commanded. Hi, Hokage-sama. Naruto, where are you? Minato thought to himself. Minato understood that Naruto left because everyone here despised and hated him. Minato began to blame himself. But for a long time, he was not allowed to engage in self-flagellation by Ami and Kushina, who were always nearby and seemed in no way upset by Naruto's departure. A year later, Konoha. Over the past year, Naruto had already been forgotten. No one remembered the blonde, except for only 3 people in Konoha. It was Itachi, Shisui, and oddly enough, Minato. The Hokage did not lose hope of bringing Naruto back. He began to realize what a mistake he had made. Akatsuki base. Naruto, now I can finally say that there is nothing more I can teach you. You really are a genius. Now we can start populating the space, Nagato said wearily. The blonde has grown a lot this year. His body became stronger. The hair has grown to the shoulder blades. Now he was a copy of his father, except that his hair was longer. During this year, Naruto can rightfully be called a master of ninjutsu and a master of fuinjutsu. He was also good at taijutsu and kenjutsu. Naruto had a katana resting on his back. The katana was not simple. To begin with, it was black and consisted of chakra-conducting metal. The katana was the pinnacle of fuin art. The katana had seals applied to it. Thanks to these seals, in case of any cut, even the most insignificant. From a person who was cut, all the chakra flowed into the katana and Naruto could use it. Thanks to his eyes, Naruto saw the ideal proportions for mixing elements and thus can create mokuton, hyoton, and much more. Naruto was also able to master the power of his eyes, namely gravity control. Studied Shinra Tensei and Banshi Tenin. Nagato-sensei, have you already thought about who to invite to us? Naruto asked while sharpening his katana. I'll go after Kakuzu. He's a pretty strong S-rank Nukenin from a village hidden in a waterfall. Konan will go after Akasuno no Sasori, a renegade from the village hidden in the sand. Sasori puppeteer. I think it won't be difficult for you to defeat Konan if he forces a fight. And you, Naruto, will go after Tsukuri Deidara, an S-rank Nukenin from a village hidden in stone. He has a Kekkei Genkai, Bakutan. He's a pretty dangerous opponent, but with your speed and strength, I'm sure you can handle it. Moreover, you have very similar characters. Hi, Leader Sama, Konan and Naruto responded mockingly. Over this year, Konan seemed to become even more attractive, and Naruto's love only intensified. After the meeting in Nagato's office, Naruto quickly gathered his things and left the hideout, simultaneously wishing Konan and Nagato good luck. Naruto, leaving the shelter, printed out his cloak with clouds and a straw hat with bells. He carefully put them on and set off. After a couple of days, Naruto reached his goal. He found Deidara in the forest when he went out on his own business. Naruto slowly walked up to Deidara and extended his hand with the words, "My name is Naruto." Deidara shook hands and gave the same name. Naruto didn't wait long and got straight to the point. Nice to meet you. Actually, I came on business. I want to invite you to the Akatsuki organization. In it, you can do whatever you want. The main thing is to carry out orders. Otherwise, you are left to your own devices. The purpose of the organization is quite simple. This is world peace. Yes, it's corny, I agree. But at the same time, a wonderful goal. And I would also really like to see your abilities, but that's a little later. So do you agree to join Akatsuki? What do you think you are, showing up out of nowhere, offering to join the organization? I'm not going anywhere with you, Deidara stated confidently. But Naruto no longer listened to him. He was too tired from these 2 days of travel. The road to Iwagakure is not close, so Naruto slept and had his 100th dream. Deidara was shocked by such impudence, but still, he just lay down nearby and looked at the clouds. It's not a logical move, but Deidara somehow liked Naruto, and the latter intended to find out. At the same time, Nagato found Kakuzu. Nagato understood that Kakuzu would probably want to join their organization voluntarily. Therefore, Nagato decided to use a trick. He offered to fight, and if Kakuzu wins, then Nagato will pay him for his trouble in the amount of 3 million ryo. But if Kakuzu loses, he will join Akatsuki. Nagato, thanks to the data he collected, knew that Kakuzu was not keen on money. Because of this, Nagato was confident that Kakuzu would agree to a fight. Kakuzu, intoxicated by the possible win, agreed without hesitation, and the fight began between the Uzumaki representative and Kakuzu. Kakuzu combined his techniques well and even missed Nagato a couple of times, but he couldn't do anything against the rinnegan, and that's why he lost. Nagato told him that he would be in charge of Akatsuki's treasury because he knows more about money than anyone else. For Conan, everything was much more complicated. Sasori had no intention of joining the organization. Moreover, he was quite a formidable opponent. Sasori intended to make another doll out of Conan, which would take pride of place in his collection. Conan, like Nagato, offered Sasori a bet. If she wins, he will join Akatsuki, but if she loses, he will make a doll out of her. Akasuna agreed to the conditions and instantly summoned the doll of the third Kazekage. Blades appeared from her hands, and at the same second the doll moved towards Conan and seemed to cut her. But Conan only disintegrated into sheets and gathered behind the puppeteer. Sasori already wanted to use the third Kazekage again. Suddenly, the doll was covered with strange papers, which broke the chakra threads, and the doll collapsed on the sand. Sasori looked at this and realized that he had lost. He admitted defeat and humbly followed Conan. A couple of hours later, the blonde woke up and saw Deidara training. He saw him making a spider out of clay and throwing it into a tree. He says, "Art is an explosion!" Makes a seal and the spider explodes with a strong explosion. Naruto was so amazed by the beauty of the explosion that he couldn't take his eyes off it. Deidara noticed that there were observers at his training and then quickly approached Naruto with the words, "Hey Naruto, why the hell did you come to me? Call me to some organization, didn't explain anything, and when I started asking you, you just went to bed." Deidara was very angry with Naruto. Naruto was still under the impression and therefore looked seemingly into nowhere. The only word on Naruto's tongue was artist. Why an artist? Naruto didn't even know. But he saw a lot in common between Deidara and the artist. They both create masterpieces. Both call it art, and that is what it is. Naruto was pulled out of his thoughts by Deidara's indignant voice. "Hey, can you hear me? Why the hell didn't you listen to me?" "Sorry, artist, I got a little distracted," said Naruto looking at Deidara, frozen in shock. "Hey, why did you stand rooted to the spot?" Naruto asked again. "Repeat what you said a minute ago?" asked the shocked Deidara. "I said that I was thinking and called you an artist. After all, you and the artist have a lot in common. Or don't you like it?" asked Naruto. Deidara's thoughts were now spinning in a mad whirlwind. "No, I'm very glad that someone appreciated my art, but I was simply shocked. You called me an artist. No one has ever called me that before. To everyone, I was just a terrorist, a subversive, crazy and sick." Thank you, Uzumaki Naruto. I agree to join the organization," Deidara said somehow sadly, but at the last words his mood changed. "Well, Nagato was right that we have a similar character. We are gradually getting ready, getting acquainted." "Well, Nagato was right, we have similar characters." "Well, so much the better," Naruto thought to himself. Nagato and Kakuzu were already at the base and were waiting for the others. Sasori and Conan were already 5 hours away, and Naruto and Deidara slowly walked and talked. If they continue to walk at this pace, they will only arrive by tomorrow evening. But that didn't bother them much. Naruto was interested in Deidara's abilities, and Deidara was interested in Naruto's abilities. They had been arguing for 5 minutes about who would show first. They argued until they were surrounded by stone ANBU. Naruto and Deidara stopped abruptly looking at the arrivals. The ANBU of the stone examined the two young men carefully. One looked about 14, 13 years old, was blonde, with strange eyes. The second was a tall blonde man about 15 years old. After the ANBU saw the mouths on the young man's hands, they were completely convinced that their target was standing in front of them. Guys, what business do you have with us? We're already leaving if anything happens." Naruto was the first to break the silence. "Tsukuri Deidara, surrender or die!" With these words, one of the Anushniks ran towards Day. But he was not destined to make it. Naruto used a futon. A gust, and the Anushnik was slammed into one of the trees. The rest did not stand for long, and divided equally into two groups. One group was on Deidara, and the second was on Naruto. The ANBU who were supposed to attack Naruto jumped back sharply and began to make seals. Naruto stood and looked at them in fascination. Half of the ANBU blew a fireball, while the other half used gust. Thus, the fireball became simply huge, and one of the ANBU sealed a stone wall and erected it behind Naruto so that he would not leave. Deidara involuntarily drew attention to Naruto and to the damn huge fireball that was rushing towards the boy. Suddenly, Naruto suddenly takes out a scroll and unrolls it with one hand. And with the other hand, he makes hand seals. And that's when the fireball seemed to have already reached Naruto. It starts to get sucked in somewhere and disappears after a couple of seconds. Instead of a fireball, a slightly scorched scroll with the kanji for fire remains on the ground. While the ANBU looked at the scroll and did not understand what happened. Naruto summoned his katana and began killing the ANBU of the stone at lightning speed. Most did not even understand how their comrades died, but after they looked back and saw the blonde man covered in blood. The remaining ANBU were about to escape when they suddenly fell exhausted. They felt chakra leaving their bodies. They couldn't understand why the chakra was leaking. And there was one cut on their bodies. Naruto wiped the blood from his katana and began to watch Deidara's fight, which was already ending. Deidara immediately created a bird and flew into the air. The ANBU of the stone began to shower him with fire techniques, but none of them achieved their goal. The blonde created a couple of spiders from clay and quietly threw them to the ground. At the same moment, he created a scolopendra, which wrapped itself around one of the attackers and exploded. Deidara was very smart, and therefore it was not possible for him at some point to drive the ANBU stone into one place. Underground in this place there were about 10 clay spiders which Dei successfully blew up. All ANBU of the stone were defeated. Naruto and Deidara saw each other's abilities and therefore continued walking and talking on distant topics. For example, Naruto was interested in Deidara's past, and Deidara was glad to talk to him and tell him the story of his life. This is how Naruto and Deidara became best friends. A day later, Naruto and Deidara finally reached the lair. Konan and Sasori were already there. When they entered, Naruto saw two new personalities. They were Sasori and Kakuzu. Naruto met both of them. During the conversation with Sasori, Naruto learned a lot about the puppeteer's past. They just started talking about art. Sasori argued that art is something eternal that you could leave to your descendants. Naruto just wanted to express his thoughts. But Deidara intervened in the conversation with the words, "Art is an explosion." Then, Naruto went to Kakuzu, since Sasori got into a verbal altercation with Deidara and had nothing to do there. "Yo, Kakuzu," the blonde began. "Tell us about yourself, something from your past or about your goals." "Hello, kid. Nagato has already been buzzing all my ears about you. So I don't mind talking, but I don't like to talk about my past. It is full of betrayal and lies." So Naruto spoke to Kakuzu for the rest of the day. He found out that Kakuzu would be in charge of Akatsuki's budget, and if you need money, you can safely approach him. Naruto was very exhausted that day, and therefore he immediately passed out without even noticing that he was not in his room. Waking up in the morning, Naruto realized that he was not alone on the bed. Naruto slowly turned around and saw Konan, who was sleeping next to her, hugging the blonde. Naruto involuntarily smiled and hugged her, falling asleep again. When Naruto finally woke up, Konan was no longer there. This upset the blonde a little, but he quickly pulled himself together and went out to the guys, who were already arguing and making noise about something. "Good morning, Dei, Sasori, Kakuzu. Where are Nagato and Konan?" asked Naruto, entering the room. "Hey, little guy, they're in their office. By the way, Nagato asked you to come see him when you wake up. Did you screw up somewhere again?" Kakuzu asked. "I'll go find out, maybe because of those ANBU stones that Dei and I killed." Naruto went into Nagato's office and saw Konan there too. He smiled and greeted them. Konan blushed at the sight of Naruto, but quickly pulled herself together. "Naruto, Konan and I will go after the next Akatsuki member. You will also have a mission. You need to find 2 members for our organization at once. Look for them to suit your taste. Go with Deidara. and I'll take the rest and we'll go after Hoshigaki Kisame, said Nagato. Okay, good luck to you, Naruto said, running out of the leader's office. Naruto already knew who he would call. It was not for nothing that Nagato said two people. He hinted at Itachi and Shisui. So I'll have to return to Konoha. Oh well, we need to find Day. Naruto flew into the room where everyone was sitting screaming. Come on, get ready, we'll leave in an hour. Deidara immediately blew himself up, and after saying goodbye to the guys, he ran to his room to get ready. An hour later, Naruto and Deidara in their cloaks moved towards Konoha. Hey Naruto, where are we going and what is our mission? Asked the older blonde. We need to find two members and invite them to join the organization. And we are going to Konoha, to my friends. We will offer them to join the organization, Naruto answered without thinking. And if they don't agree, what then? We'll force it, Naruto said jokingly. Then Deidara reached into a bag of clay and, having molded a bird, climbed onto it, gesturing for Naruto to do the same. Naruto trusted Deidara, and then they flew with the breeze towards Konoha. After 3 hours, Naruto and Deidara arrived at Konoha. 10 kilometers away, they got off the bird and walked on foot to Konoha. Naruto was talking about something with Deidara as they walked to the gate. Stop! Give your name! Who are they and the purpose of your arrival? Asked Kotetsu. We are travelers. My name is Shinra, and this is my friend Mao. We will stay in Konoha for the night and then leave. Naruto replied. Okay, you can go, the village guard said with a smile. Since information about the strange Akatsuki organization from the stone had not yet reached Konoha, Naruto and DEI could easily move around in cloaks. Naruto and Deidara moved towards the Uchiha quarter. They walked calmly and talked enthusiastically about something. If you listen, the blond man who was taller than his companion talked about art and argued that art is something that is born and dies in just a moment. But at the same time, it leaves warm feelings. They walked and talked until some boy about 10, 11 years old bumped into them. He apologized and ran on, shouting that his older brother would catch him. Naruto thought this face was familiar. There was a feeling that he had seen him somewhere. He consulted with Deidara, and they decided to follow the guy a little. After 20 minutes of surveillance, a tall brunette in a Junin vest approached the boy, and another one landed next to the one who approached. Naruto easily recognized Shisui and Itachi, and therefore he and Deidara came out of the bushes and with a quiet, measured step headed towards the three Uchihas. Itachi and Shisui noticed two strange people. Both are dressed identically in long black cloaks with red clouds. The cloaks have a high collar that hides their faces, and also a straw hat with a bell. Shisui and Itachi stood in front of Sasuke and prepared to fight. But Naruto passed by, whispering 4 words to Shisui. The place of separation is in an hour. Naruto and Deidara went to where Naruto was saying goodbye to Itachi and Shisui. Naruto and Deidara humbly waited for the two Uchiha. Naruto asked Deidara how he liked the new team, and Deidara replied that he was very glad that he joined Akatsuki. After all, there are so many cool people there with whom you can talk about everything. While Naruto was talking, he didn't even notice how an entire hour had passed. Suddenly, 2 brunettes appeared right in front of them. Both stood and looked at the blondes with their Mangekyo sharingans activated. Naruto slowly reached out to his hat and just as slowly began to take it off. First, the blonde hair appeared, and then the boy himself. When Naruto completely removed his hat, he said, "Long time no see, Shisui Itachi." "Naruto, is that you?" Shisui asked in shock. "Well, I didn't think that my friends wouldn't recognize me," answered the boy. "Naruto, are we going to fight them or not?" "I want to test their strength," Deidara asked cheerfully. "I don't know, Dei. It all depends on them." "What are you talking about, Naruto?" Itachi said, having recovered from shock. "Oh, so you don't know? It's funny. I think you know who Danzo is?" The 2 brunettes just nodded at the question. So Danzo simply hates the Uchiha clan. He will do everything to destroy it. Due to the fact that Danzo was a student of the second, he adopted hatred for this clan. But that's not about that now. Our spies reported that Danzo contacted Kumo. They agreed to destroy the Uchiha clan. The cloud will help in destruction in exchange for a pair of sharingans. Kumo brought about 50 people. We saw them while flying here. Day and I can kill the intruders. But in return, you will kill Danzo and the elders. We will help you with this. And in return, you will join Akatsuki. How do you like this proposal? Naruto finally finished speaking. Let us think. We need 30 minutes, Itachi said. After these words, the two brunettes disappeared from sight. 30 minutes passed quickly, but Naruto and Deidara didn't say a word. They sat in silence and enjoyed it. Suddenly, two brunettes appeared in front of them. We agree, Itachi answered hesitantly, and Shisui only nodded. Shisui was an orphan. He is in the village only because of his friendship with Itachi. Therefore, Shisui will accept any decision Itachi makes. If Itachi decides to stay, then they will stay. If he decides to leave, then Shisui will go with him. For Itachi, the situation was diametrically opposite. Not only his fate, but also that of his friend depends on his decision. Here in the village, he has parents, a younger brother, and a clan. But during these half an hour, he managed to warn his father and mother and the entire clan about his decision. If you agree, then it's time for us to act. I'll tell you right away, in Akatsuki you can do whatever you want, mind your own business, no one will tell you anything. But you will have to follow orders. Do you agree? The answer was 2 nods. Day, show everyone your art, especially the Cloud Shinobi. Deidara put his fingers into a seal and said, Explosion! After a couple of seconds, a powerful shockwave almost knocked down 4 shinobi. And a huge explosion was visible even in Konoha. Naruto just whistled as he watched the explosion. Itachi and Shisui stood in a stupor, as in a second one blonde was able to kill 50 of the best Kumo shinobi. Day will explain to you later how he did it. And now forward to Danzo. Give us a lift, Naruto quickly commanded. Day. Come on, try, Deidara began to say, but was stopped by Naruto. Hokage-sama, are you sure about this? Minato just nodded at this question. But I'm not sure, you see, Hokage-sama. You won't be able to kill your son. Naruto finished taking off his hat. Everyone who was at the meeting stood in a stupor. They looked at Minato and then at Naruto. What about Danzo? He was going to slaughter the entire Uchiha clan, and for this he agreed with the Raikage. The explosion that you saw earlier is our work. We destroyed the Kumo shinobi, and we will also help kill the elders. And in exchange, Itachi and Shisui will go with us to Akatsuki. That was the agreement, Naruto finished. No way. What the hell, Itachi? Shisui, where were you looking? I won't let you go anywhere. And I'll just kill this kid, and I won't even look at the fact that he's Minato's son, Fugaku shouted. Naruto just smiled bloodthirstily at these words and said, well, try it. Fugaku was about to attack, and Naruto unsealed his katana. But they were stopped by Itachi, who put a katana to Danzo's throat. Danzo began to panic because he did not want to die, but the verdict had already been announced. Naruto and Shisui suddenly appeared in front of the remaining elders. A second later, 3 corpses fell to the floor. Everyone looked at this in shock. Naruto ordered to leave, and everyone followed him. It was good to see you again, Dad. Naruto smiled and left. But before Naruto had time to leave the building, Fugaku caught up with him, in whose eyes Mangekyo was burning. Stop! What did you threaten Shisui and Itachi with? They would never follow scum like you, Fugaku blurted out angrily. Get rid of the garbage. With these words, Naruto used Shinra Tensei and sent Fugaku flying. Because of this brawl, Naruto and his friends were surrounded by ANBU. What are we going to do, Captain? Shisui said mockingly. Assessing the situation, Naruto just smiled. Naruto began making seals and summoned a huge wave. Most of the ANBU were washed away and rendered unconscious by the impact. Having created a bird, Deidara helped the guys climb onto it, after which they began to fly away. Itachi and Shisui looked at Konoha for the last time as residents. Itachi thought that Sasuke would hate him, and Shisui thought about what awaited them. Naruto was talking to Deidara, and they were laughing at something. Naruto introduced DI to Itachi and Shisui. They quickly found a common language, and now the 4 of them were talking about something. Itachi was sad, but Shisui and Naruto cheered him up, and Deidara was not on the sidelines. Hokage's office. Damn, Minato, what the fuck was that? Why did Itachi leave with them? Makoto will rip my head off at home, Fugaku said in panic. Calm down, they are in good hands. You have already seen his strength. He's an order of magnitude stronger than me, although he's 3 times younger, Minato laughed. You're right here, Fugaku also began to laugh. Then Makoto and Ami came into the office. Kushina remained in the hospital to help Tsunade with the injured. Oh, hello, Ami, what fate? Asked the cheerful Minato. I heard that someone disrupted your emergency meeting and at the same time left alive and even killed the elders. Is this true? Ami asked point blank. Unfortunately, yes, answered Minato. Who was it? I will kill him myself. He brought destruction and death to Konoha. Ami began to get angry. This man was Naruto, your brother Ami, the Hokage said sadly. Ami heard this and stood in a stupor. Her thoughts were spinning in a chaotic stream. He became so strong that he killed the elders in front of all the heads of the clans? Defeated 50 ANBU? And his father couldn't do anything to him? This is a joke, right? Fugaku, where is our son? Makoto asked point blank. He and Shisui left with Naruto. They saved our clan from death, but at the same time became Nukanin and also joined the Akatsuki organization, Fugaku answered without hesitation. Makoto began to cry. She was very upset, but she could not do anything. Itachi promised that he would come in sometimes and also write letters, Fugaku said finally. Makoto just nodded and went home with Fugaku. Dad, about Naruto. Was it a joke that no one could stop him from killing the elders? He will become an S-rank Nukanin. What was he thinking? Ami bombarded her father with questions. No, Ami, it was not a joke. I can't tell you all the details. But Naruto helped Konoha a lot, but you're right. He will become an S-rank renegade. Now go, I have a lot of work. Ami just nodded and left the office. Finally fully assembled. Distribution by pairs. At this time, somewhere near Kirigakuri, opposite the shark-like man stood 4 shinobi. All 4 looked identical, wearing long black cloaks with high collars and red clouds. Straw hats with white ribbon and bell. What do you need and who are you? Kisame interrupted the silence. We are from the Akatsuki organization. Your strength will be useful to us. My name is Nagato. The girl's name is Konan. The red-haired guy's name is Sasori. And finally, the brunette's name is Kakuzu. In Akatsuki, no one will care what you look like, what you did in the past, how many you killed, or how many you saved. You will be able to mind your own business and not be afraid that someone from our circle will judge you. The main thing is to follow the instructions and everything will be fine, said Nagato, taking off his hat. Why do you need me? And what goals are you pursuing? Kisame asked carefully, adjusting the samehada behind his back, just in case. Your strength is unique. You are also an S-rank renegade, like everyone else from our organization, with the exception of one blonde, but I think this will not last long. As for the goals, I will tell you only after you join. So what? Nagato answered his questions. Kisame didn't think for a long time. Yet the people of his home village wanted him dead, because he did not look like a human. And here no one will pay attention to this. Everyone will judge you only on your actions in relation to other members of the organization. I agree, Kisame said firmly after 5 seconds of thinking. Great. All that remains is to find the last member and we can get ready, said a stupidly smiling Nagato under his breath. At this time, the Akatsuki hideout. Naruto and his company made it to the lair pretty quickly. Itachi didn't leave the room at first, but it's clear why. He needed to think about whether he did the right thing. After the murder of the elders, Naruto, Shisui, and Itachi were declared S-rank Nukenin. Internally, Naruto and the guys felt that this was far from the limit. Itachi, how are you? If you think you made the wrong choice, you can leave. I am not keeping anyone here by force, Naruto said. No, Naruto, I decided that I would leave with you. Just give me time to accept everything that has fallen on my head. Naruto just nodded at these words. Damn, where is this Nagato? Why haven't they come yet? Naruto asked Deidara tiredly. Naruto, are you really waiting for the leader? Although no, it's all about Konan, right? Dei asked mockingly. Naruto didn't answer his friend, but blushed deeply. Deidara knew very well that Naruto loved Konan. He often liked to joke about this topic. A day later, Nagato and the company, which by the way had one more person, finally arrived at the shelter. Upon arrival, Naruto immediately met Kisame and they easily hit it off. Naruto introduced Itachi and Shisui to the guys. He also boasted that he was already an S-rank renegade due to the murder of the Konoha elders. Nagato was simply taken aback when he heard this. But Naruto quickly told everything, and the guys congratulated him on a successfully completed mission and on his career growth. Did you call Leader Sama? Asked Naruto, entering Nagato's office. Yes, Naruto. Take Kakuzu and Sasori. You will need to find Hidan and persuade him to join Akatsuki. According to my information, it is now located near the hidden hot spring village. He worships Jashin, which makes him immortal. But persuading him is not so easy. But I'm sure you can handle it, Nagato said wearily. Hi, Leader Sama, Naruto answered mockingly and left after the guys. Kakuzu, Sasori, come on, lazy asses. We were given a mission. We need to find Hidan. They say he is immortal, thanks to the worship of his god. So we kicked our butts and rushed off, the blonde said cheerfully. Sasori and Kakuzu only grumbled dissatisfiedly for a couple of minutes, and then stood ready. Naruto and his company put on their cloaks and left the lair and calmly moved towards Yugakure no Sato. A day later, Naruto and his company finally reached the village. They spent another couple of hours searching for the immortal. But when they found him, they were very surprised. Finally, you fucking deigned to come, bitches! I've been waiting for you for 2 fucking hours, Hidan began to say. Why were you waiting for us, Hidan? Naruto asked him. What the fuck is this for? Fuck, everyone already knows about you. Fucking mysterious organization. But I heard one awesome thing, and I want to find out from you. Is it true? The fanatic's eyes lit up with the fire of hope at the end. Ask, is it true that you don't give a fuck about your fucking past and what you will do in your free time from errands? Yes, this is the first thing we say when we offer to join our organization. If you mean sacrifices to your god, then you can do them right on the mission, sacrificing our enemies, Naruto said. Holy shit, this isn't a dream, is it? Fucking pinch me. Oh, it hurts, your mother. the priest of Jashin said contentedly. 2 days later, Naruto and company arrived at the base along with Hidan. As soon as they arrived, Nagato immediately held a meeting in one of the training halls. Arriving there, Naruto and company saw Nagato and Konan sitting at a table looking at strange rings. So let's start. Now, the Akatsuki organization is in full force. Our organization will work in pairs. I have already divided you. Each pair will have its own clear task. For example, the Naruto Deidara pair will carry out sabotage in the enemy's camp, and the Kakuzu Hidan pair is the main striking force. Other pairs: Konan Nagato, Sasori Shisui, Itachi Kisame. Each person will also be given a ring. With this ring, we can hold meetings from anywhere in the world. You will appear in this office as you stand now. All 10 Akatsuki members were now standing and forming a circle. So now I'll tell you who will have what kind of ring. Nagato is a purple ring with the kanji for 0, nothing. Konan is a white ring with the kanji for white. Deidara is a blue ring with the kanji for blue. Itachi is a red scarlet ring with the kanji for scarlet. Shisui is a blue ring with the kanji for sky. Kisame is a yellow ring with the kanji for south. Kakuzu is a green ring with the kanji for north. Hidan is an orange ring with the kanji for tree. Sasori is a pink ring with the kanji for jewel. Naruto is a black ring with kanji for dawn. The kanji is written in red so as not to blend in with the black. Thanks to these rings, we will be able to contact you at any time. Now it's time to talk about the goals of our organization. The primary and most important goal is to stop all wars and maintain peace. To do this, we should kidnap all the tailed creatures. But in order to do this, we need to become stronger so that each squad can calmly fight against Jinchuriki and, if the situation requires it, against a large number of enemy shinobi. Why do we need to collect tailed creatures? Decided to ask Sasori. I'll explain this to you. Since I am the reincarnation of the Sage of the Six Paths, it is destined for me to save this world or destroy it. I am obliged to help the tailed ones because they need it. Since you can say I created them, I can't look at how people use them. And so we will kill 2 birds with 1 stone. The tailed beasts will finally find a home in the form of our organization, and we will gain enormous power with them. Naruto finished his explanation. Everyone nodded in agreement. Well, this meeting is over. Everyone is free, said Nagato. Family. Hey, Naruto, let's go practice. It's boring just sitting around, said the shark-like man. Kisame, fuck off the cunt. Why didn't he please you that you constantly fuck him up? Said the priest of Jashin. Okay, I'm busy today. Nagato gave Deidara and I a job. We need to make some noise in the fog, Naruto answered cheerfully. Fog? I want it too. I haven't been in my homeland for a long time, Kisame suddenly said. Well, these are all questions for Nagato. If he lets go, he'll be at the exit in an hour, said the blonde, disappearing through the doorway. In 1 hour, it seems our mission will be a little more difficult than it should be, Day asked Naruto. Where did you get that from, Day? Asked Naruto, lying with his eyes closed. Well, for example, because the leader sent Itachi-san and Kisame-san with us. Indeed, I didn't skimp. Okay, let's go, Naruto answered, getting up from the ground. Having unsealed their cloaks and hats, the 4 travelers set out towards Kirigakure. Naruto and Deidara walked in front and talked about something as usual. During the time they spent on missions, they became best friends. Deidara had a lot of respect for Naruto. It even got to the point where Deidara started telling Naruto no Dana. I remember Deidara received a lot from Naruto back then. After this, their relationship only strengthened. Everyone in Akatsuki gradually became best friends. They all slowly but surely became one big family. Naruto was happy because he realized this. While talking and thinking, Naruto didn't even notice that they had already reached the village. They stood a kilometer from the entrance and thought about their task. Naruto Deidara, you will have a very important mission. You will need to make a fuss right in the center of the village, hidden in the fog. This is very dangerous. You may have to fight the ANBU of the fog. We'll get paid a lot if you do it right. The mist is slowly preparing for war against the other villages. They are going to plunge an already shaky world into war, and all because they have 2 Jinchuriki, 9-tailed and 3-tailed. You will need to thoroughly crush the village and try to steal the Jinchuriki. Nagato finished speaking. Hi, Leader Sama, the two blondes answered simultaneously. So, Deidara and I will start causing a stir in the village. Itachi and Kisami's task is to find the Jinchuriki. If you can't find the Jinchuriki in an hour, then hurry to the meeting place. It will be west of the village. Is everyone clear? The answer to the blonde's question was 3 nods. Let's get started. 2 figures in long cloaks with red clouds were approaching the village. It was Itachi and Kasame. They bypassed the guards and went in search of the Jinchuriki. At the same time, 2 crazy blondes were flying in the sky above Kiri. They were ready to destroy the village of Fog completely due to the fact that they decided to go to war against others. The 2 blondes began to descend, and now in the center of the village there are 2 figures in cloaks and hats. They were instantly surrounded by ANBU of the Fog. What do you want here, Akatsuki? He said this with contempt and disgust. It was an ANBU wearing a mask. We have heard rumors that you are planning to start a new war, is this true? Asked one of the Akatsuki representatives. What do you care about this? You are ordinary mercenaries. What do you care about who is going to start a war? Asked the 4th Mizukage, Yagura, who came forward. Wow, it's the 4th Mizukage himself! This will be fun! One of the unknown people burst into laughter. Great! The 3-tailed Jinchuriki came to us on his own. It will be a little more difficult than I expected, said the blonde, taking off his hat. Go ahead and blow up everything here. Fewer casualties among the ordinary population and kill only those who attack you themselves, Naruto commanded. Naruto unsealed his katana and quickly rushed into battle. It would seem that 50 ANBU of the Fog and the 4th Mizukage against one boy of about 12 years old, the result is obvious, but it's not so simple. Naruto killed half of the ANBU in the first 10 seconds of the fight. He rushed past each Anushnik at great speed and left a scratch on it. Thanks to the properties of the katana, 25 ANBU fighters were incapacitated because they simply had no chakra left, which is why they subsequently died. Naruto, without stopping for a second, begins to form seals with lightning speed and uses Kaiten, Great Fire Destruction. The ANBU, in turn, began to form seals to use Suiten, but Naruto's technique was so powerful that it could not be stopped by any water techniques. A huge wall of fire simply burned the remaining ANBU to the ground. The technique turned out to be so powerful because Naruto did not use exactly Kato. With the correct proportion of Kato and Futon, the element of flame appears, similar to the element of ice or the same Mokuton. The element of flame is a couple of times stronger than ordinary fire, which is why they couldn't stop it. Naruto glared at the Mizukage before both picked up their weapons. After another explosion caused by Deidara, Naruto and the Mizukage ran at each other. Crossing their weapons, they struck a lot of sparks, and with each blow these sparks became more and more numerous. Naruto began to push the Mizukage, and at the moment when the blonde was about to knock out Yagura, he used the power of Isobu, 3 tails, and kicked Naruto into the wall. Before Naruto had time to stand up, the Mizukage appeared in front of him in a cover of 2 tails. One of the tails had already pierced Naruto in the stomach area, and with the second tail, he wanted to finish off Naruto with a blow to the head. But Naruto used Shinra Tensei. He slightly miscalculated the power, and therefore there was nothing left in the area of 50 meters. Let me remind you that the battle between Naruto and Yagura is taking place in the center of the village. Naruto suddenly appears in front of the Mizukage and makes a strange series of seals. After finishing the series of seals, Naruto places 2 fingers on Yagura's forehead. At this moment, the cover falls off, and Yagura falls unconscious. Naruto picked up the Mizukage and headed towards DI. His cloak was torn in many places. The hole in his stomach had almost healed. Thanks to the fact that Naruto took a piece of Isobu's chakra for himself when using the seal. While Naruto fought the Mizukage and his ANBU, Deidara began to slowly destroy the village, so that they don't think about the war, but think about rebuilding the village. About 100 shinobi appeared around Deidara, various ranks, from Janin to Jonin. Dei just grinned and flew higher on the bird. He put his hand into a clay pouch and then created many birds. They looked quite funny, but at the same time they were deadly. With his second hand, Deidara created many shrews and sent them into the ground, thereby creating a minefield. But the enemies did not notice Deidara's actions, and therefore they had no chance. The birds quickly headed into the crowd of shinobi. Deidara made a seal with 2 fingers and said, "No!" yelled his favorite phrase, "Art is an explosion." A series of strong explosions echoed across the battlefield. From above, Deidara saw that Naruto was fighting against Yagura, but the blonde was not worried about his friend, because he knew what he was capable of. The remaining shinobi took advantage of the fact that Deidara was a little distracted and began to use water techniques. "Suton! Needles of death!" some shinobi yelled, and hundreds of needles rushed towards Deidara. Day got away from most of them, but many needles stuck into his right leg, which is why he lost concentration and almost fell off the bird. It would seem that a little more, and the remnants of the shinobi would kill Day. Intoxicated by the moment, the shinobi ran to the place where Deidara was supposed to fall, because his bird was also not in the best condition. But after a couple of seconds, there was nothing left of the shinobi of the fog. They were all blown up in a minefield at one moment. And above this explosion, standing on one leg, Deidara flew wildly laughing, with 2 fingers folded into a seal. His leg was badly damaged. The blonde himself could not move on his own 2 feet, and then he simply sat down and waited for Naruto. "Yo, Day, I see you enjoyed it too?" asked a smiling Naruto. Naruto looked no better. His cloak was singed and cut. The wound on his stomach has not yet healed. "Naruto, I'm glad you're alive." Day was sincerely happy. "I'm glad too, okay? Let's fly out of here. We need to take a breath," Naruto said as he climbed onto the bird. Naruto and Deidara left the battlefield and flew to the meeting place. Itachi and Kisame were doing much better than the guys. They calmly found the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Itachi caught the girl in an illusion and knocked her out with a powerful blow from Kisame. Itachi started bleeding from his eyes. He had overexerted his manjakyo. Although they have already exchanged eyes with Shisui and blindness is no longer a threat. But you shouldn't overstrain your eyes either. Taking the girl's body, Itachi and Kisame began to leave. Strong explosions were heard from behind. "They were very different there," Kisame grumbled. "I agree, we shouldn't have let the 2 of them go. Now there won't be a single stone left of the Kiri." Itachi smiled. Itachi and Kisame had been waiting for the 2 blondes for half an hour. The girl never came to her senses. Kisame pressed her hard. Suddenly, Itachi saw a bird and 2 blonde men on it. They waved at them, but looked badly beaten. Naruto's hole was almost closed, but Naruto did the same trick as with Isobu, namely, he took some chakra from Kurama, about 20–30% of the tailed beast's total reserve. Thus, Naruto immediately regained his strength and healed. Itachi and Kisame, seeing the condition of Day's leg, were horrified, but quickly came to their senses and began to treat Day. Everything went more or less well. A couple of days later, the 4 returned to the lair. They were greeted by everyone, greeted as heroes, which was strange. There was no living space on Naruto's clothes. His entire cloak was cut up and singed in some places. Deidara was also not in the best condition, and Itachi and Kisame seemed to be unharmed at all. "They fucking caressed you, they treated you like that," Hayden said in his own manner. "Hello to you too, Hayden," Naruto answered for everyone. "You guys are really great. Not only did you complete your task, you also took both Jinchuriki. They overthrew the tyrant Yagura and also stopped the military actions of all the great countries. Thanks to Naruto and Deidara's message." Nagato finished his speech. "What is the message, blondies?" asked Kakuzu. "Well, we killed spies from other villages and from their corpses we made the word peace," Deidara answered embarrassedly. The answer to this was the friendly laughter of all Akatsuki members. "In general, you are great. We will need to lie low. For about a year, you will need to strengthen your abilities, become stronger, and take up our business," said Nagato. "Speaking of business, I will need to talk with the tailed ones. For this, I need Jinchuriki," Naruto said seriously. "No problem," Nagato answered him. A couple of days later, Naruto and Deidara recovered. Naruto went to the room where the Jinchuriki were. Going to them, He made a long series of seals and then touched the girl's forehead. Naruto decided to start with Kurama. Naruto appeared in the girl's subconscious and then slowly but confidently walked towards the cage with the fox. Two blood-red eyes appeared from the darkness, looking at the newcomer with interest. "Hello, Kurama." "What? What did you call me?" the fox roared. "Kurama. I am the reincarnation of the Sage of the Six Paths. I think you've already noticed this. In general, I collect all the tailed ones. I cannot tolerate the attitude of other people towards you. That's why I want to gather you all and give you a choice. Stay with me and my friends or leave, but I'm not sure you won't get caught again. No one will look at you askance. No one will care about your past. Everyone will treat you with honor and respect. But in return, you will respectfully communicate with me and my friends." Naruto finished. "Do you really think that I will believe this?" Kurama asked skeptically. "You may not believe me, but I'm tired of the war. People are very stupid. They glorify war in songs and poems. But in reality, the war is not the same as it is usually shown. In war, you see the death of your comrades, and in the end, there is nothing but emptiness. There are no winners, everyone will be losers. After all, losses in war cannot be avoided. People start wars because they believe that they are stronger than others. They catch you and think that they will no longer lose, because they have a tailed beast. I want a better life for you. When I created you, I wanted you to enjoy life, not curse it. I'm trying for you, but if you don't believe me, then I'll just let you out of this girl and let you go on all four sides." Naruto finished. I agree, father. The fox whispered the last word. "That's great. Sit here for now. I'll free you in an hour." The same conversation happened with Isobu. Isobu was more trusting, and therefore Naruto was much quicker to convince him that he wanted a better life for them. An hour later, Naruto and two Jinchuriki stood in a field among the trees. Naruto began to make a long series of seals. There were 50 seals in total, and when he finished, he simultaneously touched the two Jinchuriki with different hands. A couple of minutes later, a 9-tailed fox and a 3-tailed turtle stood in front of Naruto. Naruto bowed to them and asked them, "I want to seal you into my friends. They are good people. They will never look at you askance. They want to get to know you. But if you don't want to, then you'll have to think about where to place you. And so you will be able to appear from the seal and walk, but in a reduced size. What do you say?" "I agree." "I also agree." "But who will you seal us into?" Kurama asked. "You choose yourself. I'll call them all now and then you can choose for yourself," said Naruto, running away to his friends. A couple of minutes later, all Akatsuki members stood in front of the two-tailed beasts. Everyone looked at Kurama and Isoba with admiration and respect. There was not a hint of hatred or contempt or fear in their gaze. Isobu and Kurama were very pleased. "And so you can choose who will sit in whom," Naruto began. "I chose," Kurama suddenly said and began to grin unkindly. "And who is this?" Naruto asked him. "It will be you, Nagato. You are from the Uzumaki clan, which means I will protect you," said a brazenly grinning Kurama. "Okay, Ku, if you want it so much, then get ready." Naruto began to make seals. Then the blonde touched Kurama. The fox began to be drawn into Nagato, and after a couple of seconds, the huge fox was no longer in the clearing. And after a couple of minutes, Nagato came to his senses, and a fox with 9 tails materialized next to him, but much smaller in size. The fox lay down next to Konan, who began to stroke him. It would seem idyllic. "I also chose," Isobu said unexpectedly, looking at Kurama. "Who will it be?" "Kisame, because for him I will be the most useful. I will be able to strengthen and improve his Suiten skills." Naruto performed the same manipulations, and as a result, Isobu was sealed into a shark-like creature. "Well, it's time for intensive training," Nagato said cheerfully. "New powers. It's time to fight. SS rank Nukenin? Over this year, all members of Akatsuki have become much stronger than before." Nagato and Kisame learned to enter tailed mode. Nagato became covered in orange chakra, his cloak lengthening slightly as he did so, and the red clouds became larger and clearer. Kisame was covered with blue-violet chakra. His cloak did not change, but Samehada increased in size and became an even more formidable weapon. Deidara tinkered with his clay and learned to supply more chakra, so for example, lightning became useless, bombs still exploded. Day also created another bomb, C4. It looked like a huge dragon that could destroy any hidden village in an instant. He also developed another C4 technique, a technique where he creates a huge clay clone that explodes and destroys all living things within a radius of 5 kilometers. All this time, Kakuzu trained with the elements. He learned to combine them more harmoniously. Haidan awakened the element of wind. He learned a couple of techniques and now also knows how to pass wind chakra through his braid. Itachi and Shisui trained in using their eye techniques. They learned to create a complete Susanoo. Itachi learned to control black flames, and Shisui can now use Kotoa Matsukami once a year. Before this, the rollback of this technology was already 7 years old. It was definitely progress. Konan began to control her jutsu better. She has created a couple of techniques that are quite effective against Jinchuriki. Sasori spent almost the entire year in his workshop. He created new dolls. One of these became the 4 Mizukage doll and the 3 Kazekage doll. Sasori abandoned the idea of making his body a puppet, but still created a doll of himself. Naruto trained the most. He learned to use Isobu's chakra and Kurama's chakra. I also figured out the power of my eyes. Now Naruto masters flame, fire wind, and ice, water wind. Naruto also improved his skills in taijutsu and kenjutsu, created many techniques. Naruto has grown even taller this year. He added a seal to his katana that would paralyze his opponent upon contact. Having developed the power of his eyes, now with only Shinra Tensei, Naruto can destroy any hidden village. Naruto trained very hard, so much so that sometimes he simply passed out due to lack of chakra right at the training ground. But every time he woke up in his bed. It turned out that it was Konan who brought Naruto to her room every time. Sometimes she sat next to him because she was worried about the blonde. Naruto once pretended to be asleep and discovered that Konan lay down next to him and hugged him. During the hug, she transferred a little of her chakra, and therefore Naruto recovered faster. Of course, Naruto loved Konan, but he was afraid to admit it to her. Naruto also acquired a call. His call was Crow's, just like Itachi's. After everyone had eaten, Naruto headed to his room. On the way, he met Konan and he decided to confess. "Kona, wait!" Naruto called out to her, blushing. "Naru, what are you doing? Did something happen?" the girl asked incomprehensibly. "Yes, I wanted to confess to you. I love you," Naruto blurted out in one breath. Konan immediately blushed at Naruto's words. She understood that now she would have to say that she loved him too, but it was scary. "I love you too, Naru," Konan barely squeezed out. Naruto just smiled radiantly and hugged his now girlfriend. Konan returned the hug, and they stood there until they heard clapping and whistling. Both immediately blushed and buried themselves in each other. They were ashamed that they were being watched. "Well done, you cunt, he's finally matured for this." "You've been thinking for a long time," Haidan shouted. "Congratulations, Naruto," shouted Itachi and Shisui, clapping their hands and smiling. "Now there is a reason to drink. Everyone to the kitchen. Refusals will not be accepted," Deidara yelled, and everyone gathered in the kitchen. "Congratulations, Naruto Konan," Nagato said and smiled and followed everyone. "Thank you, guys," Naruto shouted after them. "Let's go to them, Kona," Naruto whispered tenderly in his girlfriend's ear. Yes, on this day, everyone in the Akatsuki lair was completely drunk. No one could even walk on their own. The first to eat until he lost consciousness was Sasori, followed by Deidara, and then everyone else. Naruto and Konan barely crawled into the room. Naruto could barely stand on his feet, but was able to lay Konan on the bed, and he almost fell, but everything turned out okay. Naruto undressed and lay down next to his girlfriend. They fell asleep hugging each other, and with smiles on their faces. The next morning, everyone had a headache. For a couple of days, Akatsuki members were recovering from their recent drinking binge. When everything returned to normal, Nagato called a meeting. So, since everyone is back in working order, it's time to get down to business. So Naruto, Deidara, Sasori, and Shisui go to the Sunu for the one-tailed one. Itachi, Kisame, Kakuzu, and Hidan go to Kumo to get the twin tails. Is everyone clear? Gave instructions to Nagato. Yes, but I have a question. When to go out? Itachi answered and asked for everyone. You can leave in a day. Hi, Leader-sama, 8 people said in unison. After a couple of days of travel, Itachi's team reached Kumo. They searched for the two-tailed Jinchuriki for about another day. And when they found her, she did not provide worthy resistance. Kisame dealt with it alone. Covered in Sanbi, Kisame found himself near the Jinchuriki in a split second and sent him flying with a powerful blow to the stomach. Itachi reacted instantly when the two tails appeared. Itachi used genjutsu on her. And Kakuzu and Hidan worked together to return and defeat Matatabi. As a result, Itachi's team completed their task. They reached the lair without any problems. I just got a little tired of Hidan's chatter, but everyone has become more or less accustomed to it. Things weren't so rosy for Naruto's team. They had to take off their cloaks. After all, it turned out that the Chunin exam was being held in Suna, and now the heads of all the villages are in the village. Naruto and his team used a normal henge and walked into the village. At the entrance to the village, they were asked who they were and the purpose of their arrival. They replied that they were travelers and had come to watch the Chunin exam. They went through without any problems. They got used to the sun. The Jinchuriki of the one tail turned out to be some guy. Judging by the way Sasori looked at him, they were clearly not on the best terms. I asked our red-haired friend about this guy. It turned out that it was because of him that Sasori was declared a renegade, and therefore he had to fight him himself. I told him that Shisui would be nearby and would help if anything happened. Sasori just nodded in agreement. We decided that we would act when reinforcements arrived in the form of Hidan and Kakuzu. The immortal duo arrived a day later, just in time for the beginning of the second stage. We sat and discussed our plan. We decided that Sasori and Shisui would quickly deal with the one-tailed one, and at that time, we would try to restrain the 4-cage. The Hokage will only arrive in the village towards the end. He referred to some business. The day before the third stage, things didn't go according to our plan right away, because Minato came to Suna earlier than he should have. I asked Sasori if he could make a powerful sleeping pill that was completely odorless. Sasori only nodded affirmatively, and by the end of the day, there was a sleeping pill on my table. The day of the third stage, I managed to add a powerful sleeping pill to the cage water, but I was not sure whether it would work on everyone, and so all the cages reached for their water, since it was very hot. After 5 minutes, everyone except Minato, who by the way turned out to be immune to the sleeping pill, fell asleep. At that moment, Sasuke and Gaara were fighting in the arena. And the judge was that same guy, the Jinchuriki Shukaku. Suddenly, 6 people wearing cloaks with red clouds appeared in the arena. Sasuke and Gaara quickly jumped away from the strangers. Sasori, Shisui is your Jinchuriki. I'll take Minato on myself. Day, Hyde and Kakuzu guard the cage and Suna Shinobi on you. We only have an hour. Then the rest of the cage will come to their senses. Let's act. Commanded the voice of one of the Akatsuki. Minato suddenly appeared in front of the 6 unknown people. But before he had time to say anything, the match referee was kidnapped by 2 from Akatsuki and disappeared. The 3 did not take long to wait and ran away in different directions. And now, Minato is already standing opposite his opponent. Long time no see, Dad, said a smiling Naruto, taking off his hat. It's been a long time. Why do you need tailed ones? Answer? Minato began, but was abruptly stopped by the words of his son. This doesn't concern you. It's time to start, Dad. Minato threw his kunai at Naruto, but Naruto suddenly appeared in front of Minato and sent him flying with a sharp kick from his leg. Naruto moved at such a speed that Minato did not have time to react. Minato continued to fight Naruto in taijutsu, where they walked smoothly. Still, a fight against a cage is a serious matter. Naruto was intoxicated by the battle and then gave himself completely to it. He went wild. The arena as such no longer existed. Minato was breathing heavily, and Naruto was only slightly out of breath. Suddenly, Minato appears next to Naruto and slams Naruto into the floor with a kick. Naruto rolled to avoid being hit by a Rasengan. Jumping up sharply, Naruto unsealed his katana and went into battle again. After 20 minutes of dancing, Naruto still managed to hit Minato. The latter was instantly paralyzed. Naruto was breathing heavily, but was still able to defeat his father. Suddenly, an enraged Raikage appears in front of Naruto and blows Naruto away with a blow to the stomach. Naruto punched through one of the remaining walls of the arena, but he quickly returned to battle. Now, a battle broke out between the out-of-breath Naruto and the Raikage. Naruto began to use Kurama's power. He became covered in an orange glow. White symbols appeared on katana. Naruto became much faster and began to fight on equal terms with A. The Raikage sharply hits Naruto in the head, but the blonde dodges and wants to cut the Raikage in a tackle, but he jumps into the air and kicks Naruto. Another 15 minutes. 15 minutes and all the cages will wake up. Damn, another 15 minutes. We need to come up with something. Think about it, you stupid little head. I just came up with it. Naruto begins to form seals and uses the flame element Great Fire Destruction. The Raikage didn't even move because he was protected by lightning armor. This was his mistake. He did not take into account that this was not an ordinary fire, but a flame similar in temperature to hell. As a result, the Raikage was defeated due to his overconfidence. Naruto slightly healed him so he wouldn't die. After he defeated the two Kage, he finally looked around. Burns on hands, singed clothes. Multiple puncture wounds and a hole in his left arm. Fractured ribs. Naruto contacted Deidara, who had already finished fighting against the Raikage's guards and the Kazekage's guards. Hidan ended up against the Mizukage's guard and the Tsuchikage's guard. And Kakuzu dealt with the shinobi of Suna and Konoha. As soon as Sasori and Shisui disappeared along with the Jinchuriki, they found themselves in a clearing. Sasori began to fight against the Jinchuriki. The Jinchuriki used the element of wind and caused quite a lot of damage to Sasori, until Sasori summoned the puppet of the third Kazekage and the fourth Mizukage. Hitsu, that was the name of the Jinchuriki, was shocked when he saw the two Kage. He began to be overcome by anger and eventually gave control of his body to Shukaku. No matter how Shukaku tried to hit Sasori, he failed. Sasori, using the third doll with iron sand, defended himself from every blow. Shisui looked at the time and realized that they had 20 minutes left before the Kage awakened, which he informed Sasori about. Sasori and Shisui knocked out the one-tailed creature in 10 minutes. As soon as they finished, battered Akatsuki members arrived. All 6 took the Jinchuriki with them and left the Land of the Wind. Suna? An emergency Kage meeting was held in Suna. All the Kages decided that Akatsuki allowed themselves too much. It was decided that from now on, all countries will help each other if Akatsuki is noticed on their territory. Hei and Minato still couldn't believe that they were defeated so easily. The fight between Naruto and Minato was watched by Team 7 and Kushina, who arrived to support their daughter. They were all shocked by Naruto's strength. Ami began to boil. How did this loser become so strong? What did he do to fight like that? Was spinning in Ami's head, and not only in Ami, in everyone who saw this fight. And when they also saw the battle against A, they simply fell into a precipitate. No one understood where this boy got such strength. Naruto and his company were already approaching the lair, when ANBU of sand, Konoha, fog, stone, and clouds appeared near them. Naruto just whistled. There were about 150 enemies. Naruto and his friends were quite battered from the battle, and therefore, there was almost no chance of victory. The ANBU were already running towards our heroes, but Naruto put the remnants of his chakra and Shukaku's chakra, which he managed to take back in Suna, also 30%, into Shinra Tensei. Losing consciousness, Naruto saw that he was only able to get rid of a little more than half of the Anushniks. Deidara has no clay left, at all. Kakuzu only has enough chakra left for a couple of techniques. Shisui's eyes hurt after using them for a long time. In general, the situation was saved by Hidan, who silently covered his scythe with wind chakra and began to chop down all the enemies. Along the way, he defended the unspoken leader, Naruto, and other members of Akatsuki. Still, the guy was right. We really are a family. Everyone is ready to give their life for each other, and I am no exception. Haidan thought to himself, killing another Anushnik. Didn't you see? The blonde asked in confusion. And the fact that you are now a SS rank Nukanen. Congratulations, buddy, shouted Deidara, who had already noted this matter. All of us, except Nagato and Konan, were promoted to SS rank Nukanen. Kisame answered Naruto's silent question. Then why the hell are we standing here? Well, let's all go to the fucking kitchen. Go ahead, the booze is not waiting for your mother, Hyde muttered cheerfully. New allies? Enemy or friend? Family or loneliness? Choice. After another drinking binge, all Akatsuki members came to their senses within 2 or 3 days. Nagato, Kisame, Sasori, and Konan recovered the fastest, due to the fact that their new friends worked better than any medicine. After that grandiose drinking binge, the shelter had to be repaired, and all because... Deidara, let's bet that you can't penetrate my Susanoo armor with your C2 class bombs? Asked the drunken Shisui, slurring his tongue. Oh, I'll be too careful to judge with Itachi, Naruto stated in a drunken voice. That's what our Nukanins decided on. Since it was a long walk to the training ground, and my legs were no longer functional, it was decided to check it right here, in the kitchen. Everyone moved away from the two guys. Everyone knew what Deidara was capable of. I'm starting! Deidara shouted, creating a huge centipede that wrapped itself around Susanoo. Deidara jumped away and created a clay snake, which also wrapped itself around the ghostly warrior. Deidara made a trademark sign of 2 fingers in front of his face and shouted that he had strength. Art is an explosion. There was a huge explosion. Naruto and everyone else looked at this with eyes full of delight, interest, and respect. Respect for strength. When the smoke cleared, The first thing the Akatsuki members saw was the instantly sobered-up Nagato and Kakuzu, who attacked the jubilant Deidara with obscenities. Dei was able to penetrate Susanoo's armor, but he did not cause much damage to Shisui, and therefore was even more happy. The blonde didn't even notice the fists of the leader and the Akatsuki wallet flying into his head every now and then. That's Kakuzu, if anything. Everyone was happy about this event, especially Hidan, who had been thinking about the toast for half an hour. For art, motherfucking leg, and for awesome explosions! The drunken Hidan suddenly shouted sharply as he drained a bottle of sake. Surprisingly, everyone supported him, after everyone more or less came to their senses. Then Nagato summoned a team that they jokingly call BB, Crazy Blondes, but Naruto and Deidara even like it. Leader Sama, did you call? Naruto asked in a mocking tone as always. Yes, because of what you did in Suna, all the great hidden villages stood up against us, since in the 10th, we will not be able to give them a worthy rebuff if something happens. Then I decided to give communion to the small villages. One of these became interested, namely, the village of Sound. The leader of this village is Orochimaru. He was expelled from Konoha for following the orders of the new elders. It turned out that the new elders were even more obsessed with power and authority. By order of the elders, Orochimaru conducted experiments on living people. He didn't like it all, and when he decided to tell the Hokage about this, the latter simply threw him away like an They really became a family. Naruto revealed that he is the son of the fourth Hokage. He said that he did not regret what he had done, and was even glad, because otherwise he would not have met such wonderful people as, for example, Deidara. Deidara, in turn, told Sakuma exactly how he joined the organization. He said that some arrogant blonde man came and invited him to some incomprehensible organization. And then he just lay down and fell asleep. It all got to the point where I joined the organization, and am now one of the most dangerous apostates. And our duo is called BB, which stands for Crazy Blondes, but he's still glad he joined. While telling his story, Deidara smiled, which meant that he was sincere. After listening to you carefully, I realize that if I go with you, I won't have any problems later. But I also realize that you value your friends, and you will also have fun, I'm sure of it, Sakumo said with a sad smile. Then we return to base. There they will tell you our goal and give you both a uniform and rings, Itachi said. Speaking of rings, said Naruto, a hologram that suddenly appeared almost gave Nagato a heart attack. He's not used to this yet. Nagato, Orochimaru has passed the test, and therefore I ask you to enroll him in the ranks of the organization. We also found another member for the organization, Sakumo Hatake, who will become Orochimaru's partner, the blonde said, barely holding back laughter at the sight of Nagato. Got it? Get out Naruto already, the leader said with a smile. Great. Nagato is glad that you two joined us, Naruto said, smiling. Comment on new allies. Enemy or friend? Family or loneliness? Choice. Let's act again! Akatsuki strikes the stone! When Orochimaru and Sakumo arrived at the lair, they were immediately given uniforms and rings. Sakumo received a dark gray ring with the kanji for boar. Orochimaru received a light gray ring with the kanji for snake. Akatsuki now had 5 main teams and 1 reserve. Now it was possible to act. So, now it's time to talk about work. Naruto, Deidara, Shisui, and Sasori will go after the 4 tails. Orochimaru, Sakumo, Itachi, and Kisame behind the 5 tails. Nagato informed everyone. Can't we both handle it? Deidara asked the leader. You will cope, just like Itachi and Kisame. That's just after the incident in Suna. The great hidden villages want to skin us alive. That's why the border is carefully guarded. And each village agreed to help if Akatsuki were spotted on the Union territory. Any more questions? No. Members of the organization answered in unison. Then go, the red-haired man commanded. Hi, Leader Sama! All Akatsuki members responded sarcastically. Naruto's squad and Itachi's squad decided to leave in the late afternoon. Now it was morning, and therefore there was a lot of time to rest and go about their business. Deidara went to replenish his pouches with clay, Itachi went to bed, Kisame went to train with Haidan, Kakuzu went to count money, Orochimaru and Sakumo went to explore the shelter. And Naruto, without hesitation, headed towards Konan. He quietly opened the door and saw that Konan was still sleeping. Naruto carefully opened the door so as not to wake the girl. Just as quietly, he approached her bed, undressed, and lay down next to her, while hugging the blue-haired one. He was glad that he could just come at some point and hug Konan, and his soul would feel better. With these thoughts, Naruto did not even notice how he fell asleep. He woke up from someone hugging him with such force that he almost strangled him. Naruto opened his eyes and kissed Konan. Out of surprise, Konan loosened her grip, and now Naruto's life is not in danger. Konan kissed back almost immediately. Naruto spent the rest of the time with Konan. They talked about everything. About what awaits them in the future. How soon they will reach this very future. There were a lot of questions, but would anyone give the answers? For about an hour, Naruto and Konan just lay there in silence, enjoying each other's company. They truly, truly loved each other. But we couldn't forget that Naruto had a mission. I have a mission. I need to get to the stone for the 4 tails. The blonde suddenly said. When are you leaving? The owner of blue hair asked lazily. Yes, we'll be leaving in a couple of minutes, Naruto answered, smiling. So why are you still lying there? Come on, head out. I'm coming. Be careful and come back quickly, Konan said in a quiet voice before Naruto left the room. Okay, I love you. We'll be back in a week. Everyone was just waiting for Naruto. Everyone knew which room Naruto was in now. And all you need is to go there and call him, but no one dared. You never know if they would come in at the wrong time. And Naruto is terrible in anger. And so everyone stood and waited for the blonde. When Naruto finally arrived, 7 dissatisfied glances awaited him. Sorry guys, next time I won't be late. Naruto began to make excuses, but he was interrupted. Yeah, next time he won't be late. I've heard this 100 times already. Day grumbled dissatisfiedly. Okay, it's okay, you're only 5 minutes late, Shisui said cheerfully, holding the watch in his hands. You also timed it, the blonde muttered displeasedly. Which made everyone laugh, including Naruto himself. Naruto and his company moved towards the country of Earth. Naruto and Itachi decided that they would reach the border together, and after crossing it, they would go their separate ways after 10 kilometers. Everyone was happy with this development option. The Akatsuki slowly walked towards the border. It was already night outside. They had to reach the border by dawn. While they were walking, the guys were talking amicably. Orochimaru and Sakumo, along the way, joined the conversation. Naruto was happy about this. 2 days ago, Konoha. Have you called Hokage-sama? Asked the girl with strange stripes on her cheeks. Yes, Tsume-sama, there is a mission for you. According to unverified information, Akatsuki's next target will be the tailed beasts in the territory of the country of Earth. Take your best Jonin-level fighters and comb the border inside and out. The Hokage said tiredly. Hi, Hokage-sama, Tsume said as she disappeared. A couple of minutes later, team number 7 arrived. Hokage-sama, we have come for a task. Ami, the daughter of the Yondaime Hokage, said cheerfully. And is that you? You know, your strength is already at the Jonin level. This means that I cannot give you a simple mission. But of the missions suitable for you, only the mission of rank B remains. But there is a catch. You will have to go to the country of Earth, and Akatsuki is heading there. There is a great chance of meeting them. The Hokage did not have time to finish, when he was brazenly interrupted by his own daughter. We are not afraid of them. You yourself said that we are at the Junin level, so we take on this mission, said Ami, and her teammates just nodded. Well, then listen. You will need to take an important message to the Tsuchikage. It concerns Akatsuki, so there is a high chance that they will contact you. Therefore, I will add Kakashi and Jiraiya to your team. Hi, Hokage-sama, and sorry for this circus organized by my subordinate, Obito apologized for Ami. It's okay, you can go, Minato said, leaning back in his chair. Minato had been thinking about Naruto a lot lately. What did he do wrong? He knew the answer, but he couldn't so easily come to terms with the fact that he was a worthless father. Minato often thought about what would have happened if Naruto had not left the village and become a renegade. Maybe he was the same as Ami. Or maybe he wouldn't have become a shinobi at all. Minato didn't know the answer to his questions. But he was firmly convinced that Naruto would surprise him. Minato was so damn right. On the border of the country of Earth, Naruto and company were about to go their separate ways. But Naruto abruptly stopped everyone. We have guests. You'll like Sasori, Naruto replied with a grin. What are you talking about, Naruto? Sasori asked, not understanding. Now you can avenge your family. The time of reckoning has come, Naruto said, smiling. Really? Sasori couldn't find the words to say anything, but the red-haired one was completely ready for battle. All Akatsuki began preparations, Shisui and Itachi activated Mangekyo, Naruto unsealed his katana and stood in a stance. Kisame began to unravel Samihara. Deidara flew up on the bird preparing for battle. 5 minutes later, guests appeared near the guys. These were Anbu of Stone and Konoha Shinobi from the Inuzuka clan. But Naruto also noticed team number 7. When Naruto saw this, he started laughing like a fit. Are you okay, Naruto? Orochimaru asked worriedly. Ah ha 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 ha, yes, today is fucking meeting day. Having said this, Naruto burst into laughter again. After Naruto's words, Orochimaru turned his attention to where the blonde himself was looking a couple of moments ago. Seeing this, he also laughed. When the snake Sannin began to laugh, everyone was already looking there. And when they saw who was standing there, they also started laughing. Kakashi, Jiraiya, Obito, Ami, Sasuke, and Sakura stood there. Itachi, I think it's time to talk to my brother and their mentor. Tsume will take care of Sasori, Kisame will take care of the rest of the Inuzuka clan. Sakumo is your son. Orochi on you, Jiraiya. Shisui help Itachi or help Deidara. Choose for yourself. Give the ANBU a stone on you. Show them your art. When I finish, I will come and help you. Naruto quickly commanded. Hi, Leader Sama. Everyone answered in unison. Everyone had long recognized Naruto as the second leader, who was even better than Nagato. And everyone was just waiting for the moment when Nagato would hand over the reins to this restless blonde. The clearing suddenly became empty. Only Naruto, Itachi, Shisui, Orochimaru, and Sakumo remained on it. Everyone looked at their opponent. Kakashi couldn't take his eyes off his father. Jiraiya looked at both Orochimaru and Naruto. Sasuke looked at Itachi and Shisui. Ami looked first at Itachi, then at Shisui, then at Sakumo, then at Orochimaru, then at Naruto. Yet the best shinobi of the village now stood before her. The best former shinobi of the village. When a terrible explosion was heard, everyone realized that this would be a kind of signal for battle. Shisui and Itachi suddenly appeared in front of Obito and Sasuke. With a kick, they sent the two of them flying. They did this to clear the clearing. In the end, there will be a battle between two Sannin. Sakumo simply called Kakashi with him, and they calmly left the clearing. Only Naruto and Orochimaru remained in the clearing, and Jiraiya, Ami, and Sakura stood opposite them. Don't be afraid, Jiraiya. I won't hurt Ami, but it would be worth it, because as a child, I was often in the hospital precisely because my sister beat me. Having said this, Naruto smiled. Jiraiya was shocked. He looked at Ami, and she, in turn, just looked away. She was very ashamed. Wow, Jiraiya, looks like you didn't know something, hissed the snake Sannin. Stop chatting, Attack! We'll quickly deal with you and go help the others! Ami shouted. Sakura also wanted to say something, but Naruto appeared in front of her out of nowhere and sent Sakura into a tree with a powerful kick. She lost consciousness from the blow. -1, Orochi. I'll quickly figure this out and run to help Day. Still, he is alone against the ANBU of the stone, Naruto said, walking towards Ami. Of course, I'll also sort this out and go help Kisame with the Inuzuka mongrels, answered the snake. Ha ha, there's nothing left of your Kisame. The best fighters of the Inuzuka clan are there, and this red-haired one of yours can already say goodbye. Tsume, one of the strongest shinobi of the village, Ami said proudly. You're wrong. Sasori will not lose because his revenge, his honor, and the honor of his dead parents are at stake. If he loses, he will never forgive himself. And if someone from my family dies at the hands of Konoha, then I will destroy this village and will not spare anyone. If the ANBU of the stone kill Day, then the village of stone will disappear in a second. Naruto said confidently, looking straight into Ami's eyes. It's time to return the favor, said Naruto. Having recovered from the blow from Itachi and Shisui, Obito and Sasuke quickly rose to their feet. But 4 eternal Mangekyo Sharingan were looking at them. Sasuke was about to attack his older brother, but he was stopped by Shisui's words. We don't want to fight with you because our victory is inevitable, so let's just talk. Okay, what did you want to know? Asked Obito, putting the kunai in his pouch. How is life in the village, Sasuke? What about you? Have you become strong? Itachi asked with a kind smile. And you haven't changed. Everything is fine in the village. Minato is a good Hokage, and his daughter Ami is quite strong. Are you sure Naruto can handle her? Sasuke asked the 2 brunettes. Sasuke, you don't understand a little. Ami doesn't stand a chance against Naruto. Even if Naruto fought at half his strength, Ami won't be able to scratch him. He defeated Minato in a fair fight, and then the Raikage. Naruto is stronger than anyone in our organization, but he is also the kindest of us all. We are all one family, and therefore Naruto is a mountain for each of us, answered a smiling Shisui. Well, will you answer my question, Sasuke? Itachi asked. Oh yes, I became stronger than I was, maybe even stronger than Obito-sensei, but I'm not sure. My 3rd volume awakened. Mom and Dad are doing well. They remember you often, but in the village everyone calls you a traitor. answered a smiling Sasuke. Well, it's understandable why, answered Shisui, looking at the next explosion. Why? Dad and Mom don't tell me anything, Sasuke asked. Ask Obito, I'm sure he knows the truth. It's time for us, sorry guys. With these words, they knocked out two Uchihas and took them and carried them back to the clearing. Kisame was fighting the forces of the Inuzuka clan at this time. Everything was going well for him. Not a single dog could even touch him, and half of them were already dead. Those who remained did not dare to attack Kisame, and therefore simply sat down opposite and began to talk. Why does that guy want to kill our leader? Asked Kiba. Revenge. Your leader killed his parents. He is obliged to take revenge to cleanse his parents' honor. This is called blood for blood, answered Kisame. No, Mom won't lose, Kiba suddenly shouted. Well, let's sit and wait, and then we'll see. Jiraiya at that time looked at Ami with contempt. He could not even think that she treated Naruto, her brother, like that. Where is the world coming to? The legendary Sannin became disillusioned with Ami. He was angry and in no mood to fight with his old friend. Orochimaru saw this and sat down next to his friend. Are you disappointed with your student? Asked Orochimaru. You're right. I couldn't even imagine that Naruto was in the hospital so often because of his sister. What did Naruto have to go through? How I hate myself that I came to the village so late and didn't have time. The white-haired man answered lamentingly. Don't blame yourself, Jiraiya. Naruto, on the contrary, is glad that this happened. If he hadn't left, he wouldn't have met his friends. They may all be Nukanins, but they really are like family. He's happy with them. Therefore, you shouldn't try to pull him out of his family and take him to a village where no one is waiting for him and no one loves him. Orochimaru finished speaking. Keep an eye on him, friend, said Jiraiya. And Orochimaru realized that no matter what he did, Jiraiya would consider him his friend. Of course you're still asking, the snake Sannin answered with a smile. Naruto, meanwhile, simply looked into Ami's eyes and didn't even move. Ami couldn't stand her brother's gaze, so she ran towards Naruto screaming. Having created a Rasengan, she hit Naruto with it, but the blonde only scattered into crows. Appearing in the air, Naruto looked down on his sister. At one point, Naruto found himself in front of Ami and looked into her eyes and said, I don't hold a grudge against you, but I'll still let you know that you're no match for me. See you later, sister. After these words, Naruto slashed her with a katana. He did not inflict a deep wound on her, and putting away the katana, he began to leave. Is that all? What a loser you are! Ami began, but realizing that she could not move, she was horrified. Jiraiya, she's paralyzed. Take her away from here. Itachi and Shisui will now bring Sasuke and Obito. But I'll take this for myself, showing the very piece of paper that they were supposed to take to the Tsuchikage. Naruto began to run towards Deidara. Along the way, the mother of Anbu stone. Okay, Naruto, be careful, Jiraiya said after the fleeing guy. Deidara at that moment was fighting against hundreds of stone Anbu. If in the first 10 minutes he killed about 60 fighters using tricks and just direct attacks. Then, after a protracted fight, Day realized that the clay would soon run out. The blonde began to think about blowing himself up, taking the lives of all his enemies. And when he was about to do it, Naruto suddenly appeared in front of him and knocked out Deidara with a kick. Naruto began to curse at the unconscious blonde. Turning to the Anbu of the stone, he unsealed his katana, and in 10 seconds he killed all the Anbu. Naruto was so angry that when he saw reinforcements from the village of Cloud and Fog, he rushed into battle without hesitation. He began to fight against 200 Jonin-level shinobi. Naruto began to lose after killing about 60 shinobi. They began to take him in numbers. Naruto, using his dexterity and strength, was able to continue to resist the shinobi army, but after another 60 corpses, he was exhausted. When the shinobi already wanted to kill Naruto and finish off Deidara. Then suddenly, Orochimaru and two Uchiha appeared in the clearing. They neutralized the rest of the shinobi and looked at Naruto, who began to punch the ground out of anger. What's happened? Naruto, are you okay? Asked Orochimaru. Yes, I did, but that idiot almost blew himself up. Bitch, that's what he was thinking. What a dumbass he is, Naruto began to shout. But after a while, he calmed down and simply lay down on the ground and looked at the starry sky. They arrived earlier than planned, and therefore dawn will only be in a couple of hours. Help Kisame and check on Sasori. I'll stay here next today, Naruto said quietly. Everyone understood his feelings, and therefore simply disappeared from the clearing. This is true? Father. Kakashi and Sakumo walked a decent distance away and sat down on one of the fallen trees and began to talk. I don't want to fight with you, son. You probably hate me. After all, I am a traitor to the village, and now I am also a member of Akatsuki. I'm sorry if I gave you a bad reputation, Sakumo began. It's not worth it, Dad. Nobody was prejudiced towards me. And being on a team with Minato-sensei and Obito, I realized that you did everything right. I don't blame you, much less hate you. I'm very glad to see you, but I really still hope for your return. I think the Hokage won't mind this. What do you think? Asked the ash-haired Junin. You see, Kakashi, I can't go back because I was accepted into my family, and in it I feel like someone needs me. And I am sure that I have found my place in life. But it's pretty boring without you, which means one day I'll return to the village, said Sakumo. Tell me how you lived and how you joined Akatsuki, Kakashi asked. Well, before Akatsuki, I didn't live very well. Many shinobi knew me, fame flew ahead of me, and therefore it was difficult for me to survive alone. I lived in one of Orochimaru's refugees on the border of the Land of Fire. So 5 years passed, but recently a blond man came to me. This is the kindest of all people. He said that he would accept me into his family. I thought it was a joke and didn't take it seriously. And I accepted the invitation because it would be easier to survive with them. But I was wrong. I really became one of their family members. Sakumo finished his story with a smile on his face. If you consider this person the kindest, then you probably forget how many he killed and how much harm he brought to others. You should meet Ami, she is just the kindest soul. Kakashi objected to his father. You think narrowly, son. It's time for me to help Kisame. Apparently there are reinforcements there. Good luck to you, Kakashi. I was glad to see you, White Fang said as he disappeared. Me too, good luck. Sasori ended up with Tsume 10 kilometers from the respect you just like Kurama, Matatabi, Shukaku, or Isoba, said Naruto, looking straight into the eyes of the Monkey King. How can you prove that you are the reincarnation of your father? Asked the four-tailed man incredulously. I don't know how to prove to you that I am his reincarnation. But if you don't want to come with us, then give me your chakra. I collected in all the tailed creatures about 30%, Naruto asked. Okay, said Sun and extended his fist to Naruto. After the fists touched, something happened that no one could have expected. Naruto grew horns like Rikudo Sanin. His horns were black in color, and the pressure of his chakra was so great that he could crush even a tailed beast. But Naruto released the chakra pressure in time. Everyone was able to breathe out calmly, but when they looked at Naruto, they were very surprised. His eyes. Instead of the rinnegan, something else burned in them. The circles that were so clearly visible in the rinnegan were swirling and formed a whirlpool sign. Now I believe that you are the one. These eyes are the completed form of the sharingan. There is great power in your eyes. All the abilities of the rinnegan, sharingan, as well as 2 special abilities of the new eyes. You are slowly but surely becoming a god. The new sage of the 6 paths, Son Goku said contentedly. No one could utter a word, but everyone was happy for Naruto. After all, he became several steps closer to his goal. Son Goku disappeared from the battlefield, and only the 4-tailed Jinchuriki remained on him. Deidara placed the Jinchuriki on the bird, and they went back to base. A couple of days later, they returned to the lair. Naruto freed Sun, and they went to the clearing. Naruto, as usual, invited all Akatsuki members in order to make one of them a Jinchuriki. Orochimaru and Sakumo abandoned this idea. That's why Hidan, Kakuzu, Shisui, Itachi, and Deidara stood in the clearing. Son Goku thought for a very long time, but when he chose, the choice amazed even Naruto. Let this guy with the scythe be my Jinchuriki. Apparently, he is a masochist, and my strength has a very significant disadvantage. After using it, there is a huge chance of getting burned. Therefore, the one who is immortal and loves pain is the ideal candidate, said a satisfied Son. Fuck, a swearing Biju will also appear. Naruto expressed his opinion. Naruto again made a long series of seals, and then touched the 4 tails with one hand, and Hidan with the other. Having sealed Sona into Hidan, Naruto collapsed. He's too tired. Everyone else, realizing this, took Naruto and took him to the lair. They put him in Konan's room. She was not against it, on the contrary, she was even glad. While Naruto slept, Konan treated him and looked after him. During this time, Konan and Naruto became even closer. Naruto even thought about proposing to the blue-haired girl, but never got around to it. When Naruto woke up, he found himself lying next to Konan. Remembering yesterday, Naruto carefully climbed out and went to the training ground. He needed to find out the power of the new eyes, what abilities the dream was talking about. After 2 hours of hard training, Naruto finally recognized one of the powers. He can summon Uzumaki chains. They were black and slightly red. These chains were so strong that even 5 Biju could not break them. Naruto was pleased, but even before the evening he had learned to release them of his own free will and control them. By the end of the training, Naruto simply collapsed due to the loss of all his chakra. Konan, who woke up and didn't see Naruto nearby. She quickly ran out of the room and ran towards the training ground, from where the sounds of battle could be heard. Konan reached the training ground in a couple of minutes and saw that Naruto was falling exhausted. She ran up and started scolding him, but it was useless. Naruto was unconscious. Konan promised herself to give him a beating tomorrow, and then she took him into the room and laid him on the bed. Trainings and their results, consequences. Hatred begets hatred. After a week of hard training, Naruto realized that after using his new dojutsu for a long time, he was losing chakra almost completely. Bits of chakra remain to keep the user conscious. The maximum time Naruto can actively use his eyes is 2 hours. Afterwards, he loses almost all his chakra. However, if Naruto uses his eyes for 1 hour, he will only lose half of his chakra. This certainly made the blonde happy. One day, Naruto told Orochimaru about his successes. During the time that Orochi was an Akatsuki, he was already called a genius. He could help with anything, solve any problem, and he was also a brilliant scientist who now mostly spent all his time in the laboratory. So when Naruto complained that after maximizing the use of his eyes, he loses all his chakra and becomes useless, Orochimaru, after thinking for a couple of minutes, came up with a solution. Sanin Mod. What? Naruto asked. Sanin Mod, it appears when natural chakra accumulates. If you did everything correctly, then you will have characteristic differences in your call. By the way, Naruto, what is your summon? Orochimaru asked. I have ravens, like Itachi, so what? Interesting. Perhaps it's fate. Did you know that the world of snakes is on friendly terms with the world of ravens? This means that you can sign a contract with snakes, and your Sanin mod will contain the characteristics of both calls. Orochimaru began, but was interrupted by the blonde. How will this help me? I just don't understand how the Sanin mod will help me if I'm without chakra? Naruto asked skeptically. You're a stupid little guy, you know that? Your chakra doesn't matter at all. You can have 100% chakra, or you can have 0% chakra. You can still go into hermit mode. You will use natural chakra, which will enhance all your physical characteristics and also increase the power of ninjutsu. Sanin answered irritably. Okay, I agree. Give me your contract here. Now we will study, Naruto said cheerfully. The Sanin summoned the snake sage. He quickly explained to him why he had called him. Explained that they would like to combine the two modes of the hermit, raven, and snake. The sage agreed to this. He also gave me a scroll for signing the contract. Naruto, having signed a contract with the snakes, bit his finger and began to form summoning seals. A beautiful white snake appeared from a huge cloud. She had 6 beautiful horns on her head. The eyes were blood red. They looked at the summoner with interest. Naruto also looked at the snake with interest. These staring matches continued for about 5 minutes, under the stunned gaze of Orochimaru and the snake sage. Hello? What's your name? I am Uzumaki Naruto, a member of the Akatsuki organization, and now it seems you have become my personal summon. Naruto answered, smiling from all sides. Interesting boy. My name is Gin. I am the strongest of all snakes. I am also a snake princess, Gin answered. Oh, I didn't even know that you were a princess? Forgive me for my rudeness. Naruto apologized to the snake. Nothing terrible. Then Gin noticed Orochimaru and the snake sage standing nearby. Oh, and you're here, Orochimaru. How is my dim-witted brother doing? Jin, does someone really deserve to have you become his personal summon? Asked Aomi, the sage of snakes. Aomi-sama, this kid is amazing. I sense a strange chakra in him, similar to Rikudo's chakra. He is also very kind, and therefore I considered him a worthy owner. Gin answered. You're right, Gin. I am the reincarnation of the Sage of the Six Paths, or Rikudo Sanin. My horns and eyes are proof of this. With these words, Naruto activated his dojutsu. And also, Gin, Aomi-sama, I would like to introduce you to someone else. I think you already know each other, but I think it's worth introducing you to each other. After Naruto finished speaking, he bit his finger again and began making summoning seals. A second later, 2 figures emerged from the smoke, namely Shadow Hebi, Naruto's personal raven, and Kuro-sama, the sage of the ravens. Kuro-sama, Hebi, this is Gin and Aomi-sama. I think you know each other. You both have become my summons, and now I want to learn senjutsu. I want to combine the hermit mode of the snakes and the ravens. Do you mind? Naruto asked, looking at the summoned animals. Naruto, you probably don't know, but we are best friends. And Hebi is generally Gin's best and only friend. But as far as I understand now, it's not the only one, Kuro said. Naruto just smiled and looked at the summoned animals who were discussing something. Well, somehow they discussed the possible chances of uniting the 2 hermit regimes. Naruto was very happy. He had more people who cared about him. Naruto was so grateful to Orochimaru that he agreed to do anything the Snake Sanin asked him to do. Of course, Naruto shouldn't have said this, but more on that later, because the summoned animals have finished the discussion. Naruto, we decided that you have every chance of becoming the greatest Sanin, but everything will depend only on you. How ideal the hermit regime will be will also depend on you. We will only guide you in the right direction, but we will not give you any hints. Do you agree? Kuro asked. Naruto just nodded and asked when they were leaving. Tomorrow morning, call us and we will use the reverse call and move to Ryuchido, Aomi answered. Naruto said goodbye to his new summon, thanked Orochimaru and quickly disappeared from view. Orochimaru only marveled at Naruto. The boy was truly the one he wanted to follow. I wonder how soon Nagato will hand Akatsuki over to Naruto. Now Orochimaru was thinking about this. But really, everyone in the organization has thought about this at least once. All Akatsuki members are now in such close relationships. It is only thanks to Naruto that he united them all. He became their guiding star. Everyone has been waiting for a long time for Naruto to become the leader, of course. When Naruto becomes the leader, all Akatsuki members will be ready to follow him anywhere. Naruto was like a flame in the very heart of ice, like a storm in the very center of the sun. Everyone respected him. During these thoughts, Orochimaru did not notice how Itachi sat down next to him. Orochimaru became something of a sensei for Itachi. Itachi often trained with the serpent. He didn't even notice how attached he became to him. Itachi thought about it for a long time, whether it was worth doing this. What if he hasn't changed? What if it's just a mask? No, I'm sure he's changed because Naruto is around. He will change whoever you want, even Madara himself, Itachi thought to himself. Itachi-kun, what are you thinking about? The snake Sanin drew attention to himself. Yes, it was not easy for me to decide, you know, Orochimaru-sensei. I have a gift for you. Follow me, Itachi said, slightly worried. Orochimaru silently followed Itachi and wondered what could have bothered his student. And what kind of gift is this for him? Orochimaru's thoughts were spinning in a frantic dance. He didn't even notice them when they came into Naruto's room. Naruto, Itachi began, you can give me what we took from Danzo. I found a person who is worthy of this gift. Of course, Itachi. Give me a couple of seconds. Naruto made a couple of seals and quietly gave the jar to Itachi. There were 4 sharingans floating in the jar. Naruto then cut off Danzo's hand and took it with him as a trophy. He could not even think that sharingans were implanted in it. Thank you, Naruto. I'm your debtor. Forget Itachi. If this is Orochimaru, then I congratulate you, little snake. Dreams come true, Naruto said with an impudent grin. Orochimaru and Itachi were now heading to Orochimaru's room. What was Naruto talking about? What is he congratulating me on? What dreams? Damn, if they don't tell me now why we go here and there, then I'll tear this cave to pieces. The future owner of the great dojutsu thought to himself. Itachi and Orochimaru quietly walked into Orochimaru's room, which was now a complete creative mess. A bunch of sheets were scattered throughout the room, and flasks and test tubes were right on the table. Orochimaru felt a little ashamed. Yeah, Orochimaru-sensei, you have a complete garbage dump here, do you know that? Itachi asked him mockingly. You learned this from Naruto, right? This is his trademark smile, which he smiles when he mocks someone. Why did you call me? I'm starting to get tired of this, a dissatisfied Orochimaru asked point blank. Oh yes. Orochimaru-sensei, I have a gift for you. I hope that you have changed, and therefore I give this to you. With these words, Itachi gave the jar of sharingans to Orochimaru. These are sharingans? So that's why we came to Naruto. Damn Itachi, I can't accept them. You're right. I've changed, eh? And all because of this restless blonde. But I can't accept them. With this, I can desecrate the honor of your clan. I refuse, Orochimaru muttered. You deserve these eyes more than any other member of the Uchiha clan, believe me. What about Naruto? We all changed because of this boy, Itachi said, already standing in the doorway. Thank you for everything, Orochimaru-sensei. In the morning, all Akatsuki members gathered at one of the training grounds. Everyone came to say goodbye to the blonde. As he told everyone, he would be gone for about a month or even 2. Naruto asked Nagato not to take on catching the tailed creatures for now. Let everyone wait for Naruto. While Naruto was gone, Everyone decided to start training. When Naruto came to the training ground to summon Gin or Aomi, he saw all his friends there. They stood in cloaks and hats and smiled at him. Have they all come to see me off? I am so glad that I have such a family, thought the blonde. He really was in seventh heaven, because everyone who was dear to him was now standing here and looking at him with smiles. Even the eternally gloomy Sasori now stood and suppressed his smile. Naruto noticed Deidara in the crowd, who was smiling guiltily. He was still apologizing for almost blowing himself up. Naruto saw Orochimaru smiling approvingly. Itachi and Shisui were also here. They looked at the blonde with expectant glances. Haiden looked at him with a grateful look. Kakuzu looked at him the same way and smiled at him with a pure and good-natured smile. Nagato looked at him as if he were his son, which in principle was not far from the truth. Nagato became the one who replaced the blonde's father. Naruto also saw Konan, who was looking at him with eyes full of love yesterday. When he told her that he would be gone for a month or two, the girl burst into tears. She didn't want this blonde miracle to go away for a whole month, or even 2. Naruto smiled at everyone, but smiled somehow guiltily. Forgive me, guys, but I will have to leave for a month or 2. I'm leaving to become stronger, and so that when I come back, everyone will learn something new. Naruto answered, smiling. Of course, Naruto, take care of yourself there. Orochi said it was dangerous there. Deidara told him in response. In general, don't be bored, especially you Konan, and you're an idiot. Don't do stupid things anymore, Naruto said, looking straight at Deidara, which made him feel ashamed, and he lowered his gaze. Okay, I left. Naruto began to walk to the center of the training ground. When he passed next to Deidara, he whispered in his ear. Don't blame yourself, but just next time think about how to save yourself, and not how to kill yourself, and take your enemies with you. Deidara just smiled and nodded. Naruto reached the center of the training ground, bit his finger and began making seals, after which he hit the ground. There was a bang and Gin appeared from the smoke. Hello, Naruto-kun. Are these your friends? I hope they are delicious. The snake princess hissed cheerfully. Jin, they are my family, just like you now. So treat them with respect, Naruto said, smiling his signature smile. This is why I like you. Jump on my head and grab one of the horns. Naruto did so, after which he only heard a pop and found himself in the Ryuchido. After Naruto went to the world of snakes, everyone dispersed and began to do their own thing. Basically, everyone went to train, because Naruto said that he would give a stick to those who did not learn a single new technique. Konoha. 2 days after the incident on the border of the land of Earth, 4 Jonin entered the Hokage's booths, namely Hana Inuzuka, Kakashi Hatake, Obito Uchiha, and Jiraiya. Tell me, Minato said tiredly, after Jiraiya told everything he knew about the meeting with Naruto and Orochimaru. He also mentioned that Orochimaru became one of the Akatsuki. Jiraiya said that each of them is equal in strength to the cage, or even stronger. But they are not a threat. They are stalking the world. They want to take away the tailed ones, which people use for strength. They even care about the Biju, about the fucking Biju. Then Kakashi began his story, who said that Jiraiya was right. They want peace and a better life for everyone, even for the Biju. Kakashi also mentioned that his father also joined the Akatsuki organization. Wait, what? Sakumo? Is he alive? Why didn't he return to the village then? I long ago removed the mark of an apostate from him, Minato asked, interrupting Kakashi. He said that he had found his family, and that's what Orochimaru said. I think they are more than just an organization of criminals. I think they're family. I see, continue. Kakashi also told about the abilities of a couple of members of the organization, and basically he had nothing more to say. Then Obito began his story. He also said that the goals of the organization are world peace. He told about the power of the 2 Uchihas, said that they became the owners of the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. He also said that the 2 of them do not regret joining Akatsuki. With this, Obito finished his story. Next was Hana. She said that some Akatsuki member, without straining, killed half of the best fighters of the clan. She said that Sasori fought against Sumiheim and won. Her funeral is scheduled for tomorrow. She also said that Sasori, before leaving, said that he killed her in order to protect the honor of his dead parents. It turned out that Sumi in the past, for fun, killed 2 shinobi who were our allies. As you already understood, these were Sasori's parents. She told about the strength of all the Akatsuki members she knew. I see free, I'm sorry for your loss, Hanahime. Now you become the head of the Inuzuka clan until Kiba grows up, Minato said. When the Jonins left the room, the Hokage remained in the office with his teacher Jiraiya. Did you want to tell me something, Jiraiya-sensei? Asked a tired Minato. Just as Jiraiya was about to say something, Ami flew into the office. Jiraiya could not look at her, and therefore simply began to leave, saying at the same time, You should get some sleep, my student. Ami, do you know what happened to Sensei? Minato asked. I only know that he met Naruto, who said something to him, and because of this, Jiraiya is now not himself, Ami answered. How was the task? Minato asked his daughter. We failed. That stupid Naruto took the letter for himself, saying that it contains information about his loved ones. Ami muttered displeasedly. Oh, so you met Naruto? How is he? Minato asked, immediately interested. I didn't just see him, I fought with him. But I couldn't even touch him. He's too strong. Why are you even interested in him? He's stupid and can't do anything, Ami asked her father. Of course you didn't even touch him. He was able to defeat first me, and then the Reikage. And he is interesting to me because he is my son. I really regret that I did not pay due attention to him. When he disappeared, I found no place for myself. Revealed the truth to his daughter, the Hokage. He is not your son. He is a traitor and traitors must be killed, Ami said, pleased with herself. Where did I go wrong with raising my daughter? Minato said in horror. Wrong. You are a fool, father, just like this Naruto. You don't deserve anything, Ami said, and ran out of the office. Minato sat for a couple more minutes and then said, How long will you continue eavesdropping? Come out and tell me what happened to you, Minato said. How long ago did you notice me? It doesn't matter, though. You know that your son was often hospitalized? With fractures, bruises, and concussions? So, most often he ended up in the hospital because of Ami, who, together with her friends, beat him until he lost his pulse, and Naruto didn't tell anyone this, but only endured it. Naruto said this when we started fighting him. Moreover, Ami confirmed this. She said she didn't think it was wrong. Jiraiya finished his monologue. I'm a terrible father. That's all that Minato could squeeze out of himself. He raised a monster, and it was not Naruto, as everyone likes to think, but Ami. I will continue to train your daughter, Minato, but if she continues to slide into darkness, I will leave the village and join Akatsuki. Having said this, Jiraiya left, leaving Minato alone with his thoughts. Hermit from Ryuchi, snakes, crows, and power. In 2 months, Minato resolved the issue regarding Ami. She promised, swore that she would not drown in hatred, and would stop walking into the darkness on purpose. Minato did this because he was not indifferent to the fate of his daughter, and he also did not want his sensei to go to Akatsuki. Jiraiya began training Ami again. Minato also took part in this. Jiraiya and Minato often talked about Akatsuki, and now was no exception. I haven't heard anything about Akatsuki for 2 months. Maybe Naruto wanted to live peacefully, although unlikely. This is Naruto, which means they will achieve their goal in any case. The Toad Sanin grinned. You're right. Maybe this is just the calm before the storm? What if one of them died? Or are they training to become stronger? They were like the ANBU of the stone. They were badly beaten up. In any case, all we can do is wait, Minato answered. You're right, listen, what do you think about Naruto? Would you take him back into the family if he asked? Jiraiya asked seriously. I will do it without even thinking about the consequences. From that day forward, I thought about him all the time. I blamed myself for my inattention. I hated myself all this time, but when I found out that Naruto was not angry with me, but on the contrary, he was happy about this, my heart was relieved. If he wants to return, then I will gladly accept him as a son, Minato said, looking straight into Jiraiya's eyes. Akatsuki's lair. The guys trained all this time, as Naruto asked them to do. Hidan learned to enter the tailed man's cover. He was covered with red chakra, while intense heat emanated from his cover. Kisame and Asobu were able to achieve absolute coordination. Together, they could create a huge wave, one that could destroy any hidden village. Deidara was able to reduce his clay consumption and at the same time was able to add more chakra to the clay, which means his explosions became even more dangerous. Now he could demolish half of Konoha with a C3 class bomb. Deidara came up with the ideal idea that if he could create a seal that would deliver the clay directly into the mouth, and there would be no need to waste time. Dei decided to wait for Naruto and then try to do it. Nagato trained the rinnegan techniques and Kurama's cover. Sasori created a technique of 1,000 puppets, which he and Shukaku perfectly controlled. Also, Sasori can now fully transfer Shukaku's power into the third's puppet. By this time, Orochimaru had settled down with new eyes and awakened the third Tomoe. He also sat in the laboratory all the time. Kakuzu trained the coherence of his techniques. Naruto told him the necessary balance of elements to create Mokutan. Although the Mokutan was 10 times weaker than that of Naruto, it was already a success. Konan improved her control over her origami technique. Now she could easily control about 100,000 paper sheets. Itachi and Shisui trained in taijutsu and ninjutsu. They improved their chakra control to make it easier to control Susanoo. Itachi was able to fully master the control of Amaterasu. Shisui reduced the time he used Kotoa Matsukami to once a month. Sakumo has been collecting information and training in Kenjutsu all this time. When all the guys gathered at one of the training grounds to arrange a joint training, a young man appeared in front of them with a bang. He was undeniably handsome, with wheat-colored hair. And the eyes, the color of the sky, seemed to drag you somewhere into the unknown. The young man was tall and smiled with all 32 teeth. Naruto? Everyone present asked uncertainly. Everyone except Konan, who immediately threw herself on the blonde's neck. Long time no see, guys. But I see you haven't changed at all. How long have I been away from here? Naruto asked, picking up Konan and taking her in his arms. In what sense is this a long time ago? Only 2 months have passed, Deidara answered. For you, yes, but for me 2 years have already passed. Time flows differently on Ryuchi. 1 month is equal to 1 year. Over this year I have become much stronger. I was still able to combine 2 hermit modes. Thanks to hermit mode, I was able to create a couple of new techniques, but I decided to make them taboo because they were too destructive. Learn to use my eyes. By the way, Orochimaru, I cleaned up Manda's face there. Now he'll be like silk with you. The blonde smiled. Naruto, you have no idea how much you helped me. Orochimaru said, laughing. Well, tell me, how was the training? Did Aomi-sama bite you so that the energy of nature would reside in you forever? What? So Aomi-sama is an old pervert? Does he bite young guys? I would never have thought. Everyone laughed at the blonde's words, even Aomi, who was standing behind him. No, no one bit me. I wouldn't give in to anyone except Konan. After this phrase, all Akatsuki members lay laughing for another 5 minutes. But then how did you master Senjutsu? Asked Itachi, who had calmed down. I accumulate natural energy myself. Thanks to the fact that I have perfect chakra control, I mix the chakra of nature and mine, thereby entering the hermit mode. But this way, you can only enter one of 2 modes, of your choice. In order to enter 2 modes at the same time, you must mix the chakras again, but in an even larger volume, thus the 2 Sannin modes merge into one, but the benefits are not lost. I created a seal for the passive accumulation of Senchakra. We can say that now inside me, there are 2 huge reservoirs filled to the brim with Senchakra, and when I need to enter the mode, I simply remove the seal and control the amount of Senchakra, and then close the seal again. It's simple. After the story, everyone was shocked. Maybe we can do some sparring to see each other's new strengths. Kisame suggested a good idea. I don't mind, but there is one thing. I will fight alone against you all. It will be much more interesting this way, said the blonde. No, it wouldn't be fair. You don't think that we sat there for 2 months kicking the dick? Said Shisui, sitting on a stone. Then I'll take Deidara as my partner. Since he's my partner, it will be easier for us to fight side by side, Naruto said. Then we decided. You have 5 minutes to prepare, Nagato commanded. Deidara approached Naruto and asked him to put the seals. Since Naruto was a Fuin master, this did not cause any problems. Naruto improved the seal, so now Dei always knew how much clay he had left. Thanks to the seal, the clay was fed directly into the mouths on the hands, and then there was no loss of time. During these 2 months, Deidara learned to create his masterpieces from clay much faster than before. Naruto simply sat down on the ground and began to meditate. No one except Orochimaru, Aomi, Itachi, and Shisui understood what was happening until the first metamorphoses began to occur with Naruto. Naruto entered Raven's hermit mode. Large black wings appeared behind him. The ends of Naruto's hair darkened. Now Naruto's hair was wheat-colored, but at the ends, it looked like tongues of black flame. These are only external changes, in fact. Naruto began to hear 20 times better. I was able to see in the dark and became an excellent sensor. Physical strength tripled, and the chakra increased twice as much. But it didn't stop there. Naruto continued to mix chakra. No one understood why. No one except Aomi, who constantly admired how neatly and cleanly his student did it. Suddenly, everyone was suddenly hit by a flow of energy, the energy of nature itself. Everyone had the feeling that nature was angry with them for treating it so carelessly. Naruto's chakra amount doubled, and his physical strength approximately quadrupled. And Naruto's appearance began to change dramatically. A new color was added. Kisame, Konan, and Sasori. Kisame was the first to run at Naruto using his Suiten and swinging his Samehada towards Naruto. Kisame didn't even have time to understand how he found himself tied up and lying on the ground. Naruto used the power of his eyes. He summoned black chains that tied Kisame and knocked him to the floor. Against Sasori, who had already unsealed the doll of the third and placed Shukaku in it, and he himself took control of the fourth. Naruto used blood-red chains. Naruto used these same chains against Shukaku's sand, both for defense and attack. One of these chains, unnoticed by Sasori, went into the ground behind Naruto. After a couple of minutes of battle, a chain with a golden tip flies out of the ground, right under the sentry, and it stopped near the puppeteer's throat, which meant another victory for Naruto. All that's left is Konan. But Naruto abruptly removed all his modes. He fell to the ground and began to breathe heavily, turning off his eyes. After a couple of seconds, Naruto returned to normal and ran towards Konan. Konan prepared to defend herself, but before she could blink an eye, Naruto appeared in front of her, and instead of hitting her, he kissed her. Konan did not immediately understand what had happened, but when it dawned on her, she threw herself on Naruto's neck and returned the much-desired kiss. In such a simple way, Naruto took Konan out of the game and emerged victorious. After everyone had more or less come to their senses after the fight. Then, Naruto decided to gather everyone in the kitchen. He said that there would be a surprise in it, for Konan in particular. No one understood what kind of surprise they were talking about, but judging by Naruto's mood, it was something good. When everyone gathered in the kitchen, the blonde himself appeared, who was embarrassed about something and also looked very excited. When everyone paid attention to him, he closed his eyes, held his breath, and began to count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the pussy, Naruto thought to himself, and got down on one knee while taking out the box with the ring. The ring looked very expensive, in the center of which was a blue gemstone in the shape of a snake. Konan, I love you! No, not like that! I adore you! So marry me! As soon as we become adults, I promise to have a great wedding, but for now answer me, do you agree? Asked a nervous Naruto. Yes, of course I agree. Flew at Naruto like a hurricane. The girl knocked the blonde off his feet and hugged him. So they lay on the floor hugging. Naruto carefully put the ring on Konan's finger. There was whistling and applause. Naruto forgot that he had called everyone into the kitchen, but he was too happy to be embarrassed, and therefore silently opened 5 boxes of sake and smiled his trademark insidious smile. And our guy has already grown up completely. Crap! I'm happy for you, Naruto Konan, Kakuzu shouted, picking up a bottle of sake. Fuck, I fucked you up! I'm proud of you, motherfucker! A real man, said the priest of Jashin, picking up the bottle. Make Konan happy, said Nagato, smiling at all times. He also took the bottle and began to wait. Naruto, I'm glad I left with you then. No, not like that. I'm happy that I left with you then. Make Konan as happy as she is, said Shisui, who took the bottle. I'll be the sensei of your unborn child, Orochimaru hissed. He also took the bottle in his hands. I'm happy that you accepted me into your family. I think with Konan you will be even happier than you were before, said the second Uchiha, taking the bottle. Naruto, I don't know what to say. There's only one thing for sure. Don't screw up your happiness, Sakumo said, taking the bottle. He had long been accustomed to the fact that in Akatsuki everything was booming on every holiday and event, and most importantly, he was all for it. Make sure she doesn't regret anything, Kizami advised me, taking the bottle. May your life be full of love and affection, Sasori said with a bottle in his hand. You know perfectly well what I want to tell you. I won't advise you anything. You already know all this without me, except for a couple of things that I have to warn you about. Deidara grinned impudently. For starters, I'll be your son's godfather. And secondly, don't screw it up on your wedding night, Deidara said with a bottle in his hand. Everyone laughed at his warning. Naru, I will make you happy. I will become a light for you. Even if you fall into darkness, I will get you out of there, said the blue-haired girl holding a bottle. Kona, I will protect you no matter what. I will protect each of you. You are all my family. And you, Kona, became everything to me. The meaning of my life, I have never loved anyone so much, the guy said and took the bottle in his hands. And then he screamed at the top of his lungs. To the bottom! Anyone who can walk is drinking. He's a traitor! Eight Tails. I believe you, Uzumaki Naruto. A week has passed. I finally came to my senses, Naruto groaned. Fuck, cunt, don't yell! And without you, my fucking head hurts! Bitch, I wish I could drink again, Hidan whispered. It seems my right hand has given up, Deidara said worriedly when he heard the conversations. Ah ha ha ha! Is this by any chance not after that incident? Shisui asked, laughing hysterically. Maybe, Naruto said thoughtfully. After the guys drank one box of sake for 12 people, they hastily began to take out the second box. When they finally got it out and started drinking it, a voice was heard. Listen, Day, how about drinking the whole bottle in one gulp? Asked a tipsy Naruto. Yes, what a fucking thing to do, said the same Deidara. You didn't understand. Drink with your mouth, which is on your right hand. The grinning blonde said. Yes, I'm telling you what the hell to do. Give me a bottle here, the blonde said, accepting the bet. Deidara was given a bottle, and he began to gradually pour sake into his mouth on his hand. The mouth on his right hand began to smile. Apparently, he liked the sake. Deidara himself grimaced from the large amount of alcohol. When the last drop of sake entered the mouth on his right hand, Deidara raised his hands and said that he had won. But before he could do anything else, he was pinned to the ground. And pour another bottle into both hands. After Deidara had already drunk 5 bottles of sake with his mouth, the most was poured into the mouth on his right hand. He stood up, looked at everyone, smiled, and without taking a step he fell into a sweet sleep. A couple of hours later, everyone finally woke up. For another couple of days they were recovering from the drinking binge, which lasted 4 days. For 4 days, the strongest shinobi drank. If someone attacked the lair, even an ordinary robber without chakra, he could cut off all the akatsuki and not even get scratched. When everyone had already come to their senses, at first everyone looked at the alcohol with disgust. Everyone was sick from the mere sight or smell of alcohol. But when Haydn brought a bottle of elite sake from somewhere, everyone immediately perked up. For them, this bottle was like a breath of air underwater. A week later, everyone was back in working order. Training resumed, cheerful screams and explosions resumed. Nagato has been visiting the village of the Hidden Rain more and more lately. Everyone knew that he visited there often. Some said that he wanted to become the Amageki of the village and continue the path of his late friend. But no one had accurate information, which means all we could do was wait. We didn't have to wait long, and after a couple of days, Nagato convened another meeting. Over the course of these 2 days, Naruto had been perfecting his hermit modes. He also kept trying to find out the second ability of his eyes, but so far, it had not worked. Thus, Naruto came to the meeting with a slightly sad look. And so today I gathered you all for the last time, said Nagato. In what sense? Asked Naruto, whose mood dropped even lower from Nagato's words. Yes, literally, this is the last time I gather you here. Next time, you will be collected by another person whom I have already chosen. I think you all know who it will be, right? Said the owner of the rinnegan, smiling slyly. Have you finally made up your mind? Sasori asked. Yes, and so. You all know this man. He has done more for the organization than anyone else. He is the one for whom every member of this organization is here. He is the second and unspoken leader. Please love and favor. Uzumaki Naruto, Nagato said solemnly. Congratulations, little guy, but we'll celebrate this a little later. Last time was enough for me, Kisame replied. Speeches of congratulations were heard from everywhere. Everyone was happy. But Naruto stood in some kind of prostration. He could not even in his best dreams become a leader. Who will follow me? What is Nagato thinking? Damn, the organization will fall apart. Fuck us all. These were roughly the thoughts Naruto had. Nagato's office was empty, and only Naruto and Nagato remained. Is something eating you, Naruto? Of course it's eating. Are you a fool or what? So explain to me which one of me is the leader? Organization cunt. I'll screw it all up. This is not true, in fact. The organization is still afloat. Thanks to you. You are the one who unites these people. The one whom they have long recognized as the leader. It's time for me to retire from the organization. You will become the new leader, and I will become Amakage and continue the work of my friend. I trust you, Uzumaki Naruto. You will become a worthy leader. Good luck to you. Why do you talk as if you are leaving us forever? And what does this mean? It's time for you to step away from the organization's affairs. You will never stop being a part of our family. This means you won't stop being a member of Akatsuki. That's why I left you as leader. Okay, by the way, I was thinking, you know what? What are you talking about? What if Amegakur is under the protection of Akatsuki? No one will want to attack our village. The village will not become a battlefield. I agree. Okay, let's go to the guys. Certainly. Meanwhile, the Tsuchikage strengthened security at the border. Cloud was going to take advantage of the fact that the stone had only one Jinchuriki left, who is unknown where. There was going to be war again. The war is because people are intoxicated by the power of tailed beasts. They want to use them for their own purposes, mainly for them to play a huge role in the war. The stone and the cloud are preparing for war, which means that it will be extremely difficult to get into the country and steal the Jinchuriki, and therefore, we will go after only one of them. I think it's worth visiting the cloud. They are the initiators of war, which means it is worth reducing their ardor. I, Daidara, Orochimaru, and Shisui will go to the cloud. Conan remains in charge of the lair. We leave at sunset today. They say the Eight Tails has become friends with his Jinchuriki, which means it will be quite difficult to defeat him. Shisui said thoughtfully. Do you really think it will be difficult? Sannin and a man who can destroy half of Kumo with one bomb are coming with us. What are your abilities worth? Naruto said. In 5 hours at the gate. Hi, Leader-sama. After the meeting, Naruto immediately stomped over to Conan. When he arrived, the girl was lying on the bed and looking at the ceiling. Hey, Kona, don't be sad. Did something happen? Naruto asked carefully. Oh, Naru, no, everything is fine. I'm just worried about Nagato, after all. The village is not 11 Nukenin. I'm sure he can handle it. After Naruto's words, Conan noticeably calmed down. The girl reached out to Naruto to kiss him. Naruto took Conan by the waist and pulled him towards him and began to kiss. They kissed until Conan's hands dropped below the blonde's head. She began to trace Naruto's chest with her fingers. Naruto silently looked at the girl, trying to remember every detail. He always did this before leaving on a mission. Naruto's hands involuntarily went down from her waist to Conan's ass. The blonde began to squeeze his girlfriend's elastic ass. Conan, meanwhile, stopped rubbing Naruto's torso and her hands dropped even lower. She began to knead the already swollen penis. The girl slowly took her boyfriend's big dick out of his shorts. She started jerking him off. Naruto didn't stand still either. He had already taken off Conan's light t-shirt, under which her second-size breasts were hidden. The girl's nipples were already hard, which meant that she was now very excited. Naruto gently pressed himself to the nipples and began to suck on them, biting them along the way. The girl began to moan, but she did not stop jerking the guy's penis, but on the contrary, she increased her pressure. After a couple of minutes, Naruto stopped biting his girlfriend's breasts. He slowly stood up, took off the rest of his clothes, and walked over to Conan. The girl also stood up and was about to start taking off the rest of her clothes, but Naruto stopped her. The guy approached the girl, knelt down, and began to slowly unbutton the girl's pants. When he finally unfastened them, he quickly and deftly removed them from the girl. Under the pants there were red panties. Conan was beautiful. Naruto slowly began to remove the girl's panties, simultaneously memorizing every part of her body and inhaling every scent of her. When Naruto was done with the panties, he leaned into the nice-smelling pussy. The girl smelled so magical that Naruto's head was spinning from the smell. He was eager to try her. Naruto, with a quick movement, clung to the most intimate place and began to lick the clitoris. Naruto didn't even think about stopping. He started licking at triple speed and didn't even notice that the girl had already come a couple of times. Naruto stuck his tongue right into the girl's pussy, causing Conan to orgasm again. Naruto, at the same time, unexpectedly stuck 2 fingers into the girl's ass. The latter, in turn, received another orgasm, and her legs gave way. If not for Naruto, she would have fallen to the floor. Naruto laid Conan down on the bed and hovered over her. Kona, are you sure? Naruto asked in a quiet whisper. The girl did not answer anything. She just stretched out her hands to her beloved, grabbed him and pulled him towards her. Naruto realized that now was the time, and carefully began to insert his penis into the girl. Conan winced in pain. She was still a virgin. Naruto began to slowly enter. Conan no longer paid attention to the pain. She only received pleasure. When Naruto fully entered the girl, she received another orgasm. The walls of her uterus began to involuntarily contract, which is why Naruto almost came to. Conan was very narrow. Naruto began to move, slowly at first, then faster and faster. The guy got more and more excited. With every thrust he wanted more, and all because the girl started moaning right in our hero's ear. The gentle hot air only intoxicated my head. Naruto began to speed up, kissing his life partner at the same time. Naruto was already at his limit. He was about to come. "Kona, I'll come soon," the guy informed his girlfriend. "Me too, let's go together?" Naruto nodded and began to speed up. Conan felt so good that Naruto couldn't stand it for even 5 seconds and came at the same time as the girl. Conan felt herself filled with hot cum. She was happy. Naruto kissed the girl, and they lay down on the bed together. They lay in an embrace, and each thought about his own. Naruto thought that he was finally able to satisfy his girlfriend. And Conan thought about everything that connects her with Naruto. A couple of hours later, Naruto left the room fully dressed. The Akatsuki cloak suited Naruto very well. Naruto, passing by the kitchen, heard Hidan's joyful cry. "Fuck my dick, so this is our hero. Fuck, did you finally fuck her?" "I think everyone in a Megacure fucking heard you." Naruto blushed deeply, but when he saw everyone else smiling contentedly, he realized that they wouldn't make fun of him. Maybe they wouldn't. Naruto told the guys about his feelings. They all congratulated him, but said that they would drink after the task. Naruto nodded in agreement, and the four left the shelter. A couple of days later, Naruto and company reached the border with the Land of Lightning. The guys overcame the border detachment without any problems, without causing any panic or suspicion. Shisui used the simplest genjutsu on them and ordered them to pass. In this simple way, Naruto and company reached Kumo. Naruto immediately outlined that Orochimaru and Shisui would fight the tailed beast, and Naruto will hold off the Kumo shinobi. Deidara will have to detonate a couple of C2 class bombs. Orochi and Shisui quickly found the Eight Tails Jinchuriki. Orochimaru began to fight in taijutsu against B. The latter lost miserably. And then he immediately asked Gyuki to help him. B knew very well who the Akatsuki were, and therefore fought seriously. When the Eight Tails appeared on the battlefield, Shisui tried to cast an illusion on him, but nothing worked. Orochimaru had already begun to get hit in the face, but the situation was saved by Deidara, who came out of nowhere and created a huge C3 class bomb. He created a huge dragon out of clay, on which he flew over the village. Deidara jumped from the dragon onto the bird and sent the dragon itself into a hachibi. The dragon wrapped itself around the Eight Tails and exploded. Gyuki suffered greatly and then returned to his Jinchuriki. Orochimaru knocked B out with a blow to the neck. Taking the Jinchuriki, they began to leave. At this time, Naruto fought against the Kumo shinobi. One by one, shinobi clouds fell to the ground. Suddenly, Naruto noticed about 10 people starting to make identical seals. It smelled fried. Therefore, Naruto also made a series of seals, but much faster than the Kumo shinobi. Anton. Inferno fire. A huge jet of flame rushed towards those shinobi who were making the seals. Not even ashes remained from them. Water techniques are not able to extinguish the flames. Naruto unsealed his katana and began to fight against the Kumo army. 20 minutes later, Naruto saw many explosions that rang out in different parts of the village. This was a sign from Deidara that the Jinchuriki had been captured, and they retreated to a safe distance. A Raigeki appears right in front of Naruto and aims for the blonde's head. But Naruto easily dodges and closes the distance in a couple of jumps. Naruto stands and looks at the evil Raikage. "Where is my brother? Answer." "With us, we only need Hachibi. We are not interested in your brother," the blonde answered in an indifferent tone. "I'll kill you, boy." "I'm not strong enough," answered Naruto, disappearing from the battlefield. Naruto appeared next to Deidara, Orochimaru, and Shisui. He saw the Jinchuriki, and therefore decided to talk right away. Naruto went down to B's subconscious and saw the eight tails sitting there. Naruto told him the same thing as the rest of the tailed creatures. Naruto also said that the Raikage, realizing that they had the only Jinchuriki left who was nearby, decided to start a war. Think about my words, Gyuki. I can free you and let you go, but you can also join us. Choose your Jinchuriki and stay there, Naruto said. I agree, father, but just get me out of this guy and let him live, Gyuki asked. Naruto didn't resist his new friend's decision. Therefore, he promised that B would not die. A couple of days later, Naruto and company arrived at the lair. Naruto extracted Gyuki from B, but the latter survived. Naruto also gathered everyone from the organization in the clearing. Gyuki didn't think long. He decided to choose the one who easily defeated him. Namely Deidara, Naruto sealed Gyuki into the blonde. Gyuki got out of Deidara in a reduced size a couple of minutes later and went to his tailed brothers' cage meeting. All five Kage had been arguing for an hour about what to do with Akatsuki. A was depressed and furious because the Akatsuki killed his brother. During these 3 days, nothing was heard about him, which means he was already dead. Hei hated himself for his weakness. The sounds of battle can be heard from somewhere in the corridor. A couple of minutes later, Naruto wearing an Akatsuki cloak enters the office, followed by Killer B. Hei looked at it with disbelieving eyes. Hello, Dad. Raikage, I'm tired of looking for your ass. Here is your brother, Gyuki asked to be left alive. Now, let's talk about the important stuff. My people and I kidnapped the Jinchuriki from Kumo because they were going to start another war. Because of what they suffered, the same will happen to anyone who wants to fight. We only have 2 tailed creatures left to capture. After this, we will stop any military activity. All conflicts will be resolved peacefully. Do you understand, Mr. Kage? Naruto asked cheerfully. Boy, what do you mean your people? Who is your leader? And why did you decide that we will obey you? Onoki asked. What do you mean, my people? This is what they mean. I have recently become the leader of the Akatsuki organization. And you will obey me because none of you wants to die. I'm stronger than each of you. But stronger than all of us at once, remarked the smiling Kazekage. Naruto just snapped his fingers and all the members of the organization appeared next to him. Do you still believe in your victory? Asked a bored Naruto. No military actions, militaristic policies, and the like are prohibited. And now we take our leave. Naruto and his company began to leave, but Naruto turned around and said with a smile at all 32, Dad, you may soon become a grandfather. Will Jiraiya come to the wedding? Minato sat in shock, and Jiraiya smiled approvingly. Naruto disappeared as suddenly as he appeared. Five-tailed, a new conflict is brewing. War? After Naruto declared that they were stronger than all the great hidden villages, all the Kage decided to go to war against Akatsuki. Minato tried to convince them, but it almost ended in a fight, and Konoha leaving the alliance. A village hidden in the fog followed Konoha. After all, Akatsuki helped them get rid of the tyranny of the Fourth. Cloud, Suna, and Stone declared war on Konoha and Kiri. Minato and Mei were shocked, but without saying anything, they left the hall where all the Kage were gathering. Minato always tried to solve everything peacefully. He was one of those people who wanted peace for everyone. Therefore, the Hokage did not act against Akatsuki because their goals were the same. Everyone just achieves them differently. Minato decided to meet with the head of Akatsuki. He quickly left the Land of Iron and headed straight to Amegakure. Jiraiya, who wanted to see his godson and an old friend, also got involved with Minato. At this time, Kumo, Suna, and Iwa were preparing a plan according to which they would be able to destroy Konoha and crush Kiri under them. The 3 Kage were as confident as possible of their victory. When the Kage discussed all their affairs and began to disperse, Raven, who had been eavesdropping on everything, disappeared from the windowsill in white smoke. The Raven appeared right in front of Naruto and recounted everything he had heard. The blonde immediately gathered all members of the organization. Suna, Iwa, and Kumo openly declared military action against Kiri and Konoha. What are we going to do? Most likely the fourth Hokage is heading here now. He wants to ask for help. What do you think about this? Naruto asked his friends. We will carry out any of your orders. And if you ask our opinion, then I believe that everyone here is in favor of depriving Ai, Unoki, and the race of overthrowing. Instead of Ai, you can put B. Instead of Raz, you can put his son. And instead of Onoki, you can put his granddaughter, Kurotsuchi. Nagato spoke for everyone. Then it's decided, I'll go meet Minato, and you get ready for orders. Everyone is free. Naruto commanded, and his office was empty. Naruto stood up from the table and walked out of the shelter. Again, there are people who decide everything through war. How stupid that is. It's time to remove them from their positions as Kage, Naruto thought to himself. Naruto had been sitting under the tree for an hour waiting for Minato to arrive. Somehow he knew for sure that Minato would arrive, and not alone. So Naruto sat and waited for him. 30 minutes later, Minato and Jiraiya appeared. Hokage-sama, Jiraiya-san, please come in. I'm sure we have something to discuss. May-sama no see for a long time. You are also passing. After all, you and the Hokage are now allies, Naruto said cheerfully. And you still don't change Naruto-kun. As he was then, remains so, said May. Are you familiar? Asked a surprised Minato. You didn't know? I became Mizukage only because Naruto overthrew the fourth. And then I pushed the people to elect me as the fifth Mizukage, May answered. Okay, enough talk, it's time to go, Jiraiya said seriously. 10 minutes later, they entered the spacious hall where Deidara, Kisame, and Orochimaru were training. The snake, when he saw his old friend, immediately approached Jiraiya, and they began to talk about their own things. Dei flew up to Naruto and asked what was the matter. Naruto said that there would be negotiations. Kisame only politely greeted the new Mizukage and the fourth Hokage. And so I think it's worth starting already. What do you want from our organization? Naruto asked point blank. We don't want anything. We just came to tell you that war is starting. Kumo, Iwa, and Suna are free. But Minato didn't finish. He was interrupted by Naruto. I know we will start acting soon. The only question is, won't you stab us in the back while we deal with 3 villages? Naruto asked in a serious tone. We will help you in any matter. Need help, just whistle and Konoha will arrive, said Minato. He wanted to keep the peace with all his might. The fog will also help you in everything it can, said May. Great! Kisame, gather everyone and urgently, Naruto said sitting down on the ground. A couple of minutes later, all Akatsuki members stood in front of Naruto and looked at the 2 Kage and their leader. Everyone understood why they were here. Let's start, please. And so, Hokage and Mizukage, you will have to defend your villages well, increase the number of patrols, strengthen the defense, return all the fighters from missions, and do not leave the village until I send a snake to you. And now you, Naruto looked at his family, we will have to appear in full force on the territory of Eva. If you believe my informants, then at the moment, the Raikage, Tsuchikage, and Kazekage are there now. We will lure them to ourselves and declare battle on them in the same place. They will definitely agree, because otherwise there will only be 2 great hidden villages left. Deidara, you will need to prepare a lot of traps. Well, we'll figure it out on the spot. Nagato, you are coming with us. Sakumo goes to Konoha, and you Orochimaru if you want. You can also return to Konoha. As far as I understand, the mark of a traitor was removed from you there, which means you can return. No way, Naruto, I have become one of you and now forever, said the snake. And I'll be back. Thank you for sheltering me. Don't be angry that I'm leaving the organization, but my home is there, said Sakumo. Okay, then we need a partner for Orochi. Any ideas? Naruto asked. Everyone was silent for about 5 minutes. Everyone thought who could be a good partner for Orochimaru. Naruto already knew the answer, but was in no hurry. Orochimaru just glanced sideways at Jiraiya. And the white-haired man, in turn, glared at Naruto. I will become a partner for this old snake. Please accept me into the organization, Jiraiya said, getting up from the ground. I was waiting for you to make up your mind. Great. Orochimaru, you don't mind. Naruto affirmed rather than asked. Minato, I'm sorry, but they need me now, and you can manage without me. Tell Tsunade my apologies, said Jiraiya. Keep an eye on Naruto. Oh, by the way, Jiraiya, Dad, I haven't shown you our lair yet, send it. Mei-sama, are you with us? Naruto asked. No, I need to return to the village. Good luck to you, Mei said, to which everyone just nodded. Naruto took his godfather and father through the labyrinths for about an hour, telling him how he lived here. They talked about their own things in the blonde's room for a couple more hours, until a blue-haired girl came to them. Naru, are you going to bed soon? The girl asked sleepily, not seeing the guests at first. Oh, Kona, come here! Dad, old man, meet Conan, she's my fiancée, Naruto said, hugging Conan. Yes, Minato, it runs in the family. What's family? Asked Minato. The fact that you managed to find such beautiful wives for yourself. And it's so easy. It becomes scary, said the white-haired man. Okay, it was nice to meet you, Conan. Take care of this blockhead. And you, Naruto, so as not to offend her. It's time for me to go back. Good luck to you, Minato said. Thank you. Say hi to Sasuke and Ami, Naruto said, and Minato disappeared in a yellow flash and a clap of thunder. Naruto gathered his entire organization early in the morning, and they slowly moved towards Eva. Naruto gave the order to Kisama and Itachi to find and bring the six-tailed Jinchuriki here. The members of the organization slowly moved towards Willow. They deliberately attracted attention to themselves. They needed a meeting with the heads of the great villages. A couple of days later, they stopped near the border. By this time, Itachi and Kisame had returned, with a Jinchuriki on their shoulder. Naruto, after talking with Saiken, offered him the same thing as the rest of the tailed creatures. Saiken agreed and chose Kakuzu as his Jinchuriki. Jiraiya, who saw one of the Biju so close for the first time. He was highly interested, but he refused to be a Jinchuriki, because it's scary when someone lives inside you. Naruto also took chakra from Saiken, and they went to the territory of the Earth Country. After a couple of hours, they reached the border, and as soon as they crossed the border, Hei, Rasa, and Unoki landed in front of them. And behind them stood an impressive army. We didn't come to kill ordinary shinobi. Those who want to leave, can leave. He who does not want war will remain alive. Your cage will lie dead after a while, and therefore you better leave here if you don't want to die along with this garbage. Saying this, Naruto pointed at the cage. Listen, kid, the milk on your lips hasn't dried yet, and you're already the leader of Akatsuki. Are you guys probably ashamed to be under his leadership? Hey, provoked. As soon as the Raikage finished speaking, their Biju appeared behind all the Akatsuki members. The six-tailed beasts now stood behind Akatsuki. Naruto himself had already entered double hermit mode and activated his eyes. Some of the united army began to throw down their weapons and simply go to their village. They stopped being afraid of the cage because they understood that they would die in any case, and if they left, then the chance of survival was much greater. 75% of the army left. The cage looked at this with frenzy. They wanted to tear and throw, but at the sight of six-tailed creatures, they themselves were scared, but did not show it. The remaining shinobi were the type who had blind faith in their cage, that they are doing everything right. Naruto was infuriated by such people, but he could not do anything about them. I'm warning you for the last time, those who want to leave can leave. Nothing will happen to them, but those who remain will meet their death. Those who stay will no longer see their family, their girlfriends, their friends. Think about what you have to lose, the blonde announced loudly. After Naruto's words, all those who remained thought about his words. 10 minutes later, 3 Kage and about 50 shinobi from different villages remained on the battlefield. Naruto was pleased with the result. He was able to talk some sense into stupid people. He was able to save many from unnecessary death. But those who remain will see the light for the last time. It's time to finish with you, said the blonde and unsealed his katana. Konoha, Minato, are you sure that leaving everything to them was a smart decision? Tsunade screamed in his office. Tsunade-sama, they themselves decided so. I couldn't do anything. Forgive and just believe in them, Minato said with concern in his eyes. Tsunade, seeing Minato's eyes, simply sat down in a chair and began to wait. Here, a bunch of jonins gradually pour into the office. They all ask about the war. Everyone looks worried, and all because they are afraid of death. Gather a council of jonins. The clan heads must also be present, Minato said, tired of all this circus. A couple of minutes later, all the jonins, as well as the heads of the clans, stood in the large hall and waited for Minato. A couple of minutes later, Minato himself appeared and gathered everyone. Hokage-sama, is it true that war has been declared on us? And if they announced it, who? Who are our allies? Similar questions rained down in batches. Minato hit the table so hard that it shattered into pieces, and it was a blow without chakra enhancement. They declared war on us, it's true. Kumo, Suna, and Iwa accused us of betrayal, and now we have a war brewing. On our side are Kiri and the organization Akatsuki, Minato said, and silence reigned, mainly due to the fact that everyone was shocked by the last words of their leader. Akatsuki? How can you trust them? They are traitors. They are the ones who will stick a knife in our back. Accusations were heard from all sides. Everyone was unhappy with their unexpected ally. Minato simply sat down on the ground tiredly. Silence! Fugaku barked this time. I think the Hokage had good reasons for recognizing Akatsuki as his allies. You're right, Fugaku. Akatsuki has the same goals that I pursue. If I weren't Hokage, I would have gone to them. Akatsuki must now fight against the united army of 3 great countries. They are trying to solve our problems. I am sure that their leader will not betray his ideals, and therefore there is no point in expecting a knife in the back. Without Akatsuki, we would have lost. And so we have a chance. None of you are risking your lives. None of you are dying on the battlefield now. None of you give your life in a useless war. Minato finished his speech. What is required of us in exchange for helping them? Hatake Kakashi decided to ask. I'll explain this to you. A figure in a cloak with red clouds appeared in the center of the hall. Ash hair, familiar face, a strange short sword on his back. My name is Sakumo Hatake. I am a former renegade of the village hidden in the leaves. I'm also a former Akatsuki member. I don't have a ring, which means I'm not a member of the organization. Akatsuki will not demand anything from you except for one thing. At these words, everyone noticeably tensed. You never know what will come into the minds of the apostates. Do not start wars. Do not become initiators of conflicts. Try to resolve all issues peacefully, and then the Akatsuki will not look at you as enemies. You will become friends of the organization if you strive for world peace. Nothing more is needed from you. There was complete silence for a couple of minutes. Everyone thought about Sakuma's words. On the one hand, this is an extremely profitable alliance, a powerful force that will help you protect what is dear. But on the other hand, a wrong decision is made, and the village lies in ruins. Here we need to think about further cooperation. They chose a rather interesting path to achieve peace, through intimidation. Where is the guarantee that we won't be abandoned or killed after the war? Asked some smart guy from among the Junins. If you follow what I said, then you will enter the Akatsuki family, and the organization never betrays its family and its friends. I propose to decide by voting. Who is in favor of helping the Akatsuki organization? Minato asked, raising his hand. In total, there were 50 people in the hall. Of these, 35 are ordinary jonins. 40 people raised their hands. Only representatives of the Inuzuka clan and some jonins who are somehow connected with this clan did not raise it. Minato understood perfectly well why they were against this alliance. After all, they could not forgive the murder of the head of the clan. Kiba still has not recovered from the death of his mother. Kiba even thought about joining the alliance between Iwa, Kumo, and Suna to destroy Akatsuki. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, Naruto stands opposite the Raikage, who is still standing. Come on, now is the time to do it! The Raikage suddenly shouted and jumped back to some shinobi. Of course, Mr. Raikage, said the shinobi and began to make seals. Damn Naruto, stop him. He wants to use unholy resurrection. The technique of the second Hokage. It's unknown who he wants to resurrect. Orochimaru and Jiraiya shouted in one voice. But Naruto didn't have time. a coffin appeared in front of everyone. The Raikage stood and smiled. He knew that his plan would work. The man they are now resurrecting wants to destroy Konoha. And besides this, he is also the god of shinobi, which means victory is in their pocket. A stone coffin appeared in front of everyone. When the lid fell, all Akatsuki members became wary. After all, this hooded man was the last person the Akatsuki wanted to see. "Why the hell did you resurrect me? Who are you anyway?" asked a man in strange red armor. "We want to destroy Konoha, the legacy of the first Hokage, and these suckers are stopping us," Hei shouted. Judging by the fact that the three Kage are lying around exhausted, they are quite strong. "This will be interesting," said the man with strange eyes. "Uchiha Madara," Naruto said quietly. "Uchiha Madara? Second ability of the eyes, Carnage?" "Uchiha Madara," Naruto said quietly. "I'm flattered that even a little thing like you knows about me." Fuck, you fucking resurrected him and the degenerate?" "Fucked up," Haiden said, taking out his scythe. "We love to find problems to our advantage," Itachi said. "Itachi, Shisui, urgently find the remaining Jinchuriki and bring them here. You have a couple of hours to do this. All the remaining Jinchuriki must be somewhere nearby. They were found and collected by the three Kage. You have at least half an hour to do everything." Naruto commanded, and the two shinobi disappeared. Madara watched all this carefully, and then suddenly asked, "Listen, boy, what are you trying to achieve? Why do you collect tailed animals?" "I want peace." People are stupid, and therefore use tailed animals only as a source of unlimited power. Nobody sees them as individuals. When there are more Jinchuriki in a certain country, it will immediately prepare for war. This happened recently. The cloud decided to attack the stone because the stone had no Jinchuriki left. Naruto answered, preparing for the hardest fight of his life. "Why then did you send those two for Jinchuriki? Do you seriously think that you can defeat me without them?" "Remember, don't underestimate me," Madara said. "I didn't mean to," Naruto answered. Madara ran towards Naruto with such speed that it seemed he simply disappeared. Thanks to the attentiveness developed over years of training, Nukanen's sharp eye caught a thin, fuzzy shadow. But this was enough to repel the blow. A taijutsu fight ensued. Madara dominated. Naruto could do nothing to oppose him. Punch block. Another blow, Naruto moves to the side, but runs into a leg bent at the knee. Madara punches the blonde in the stomach with all his might. Naruto bent in half, but still managed to break the distance with the enemy. Naruto began to open the seals, and within a couple of seconds, he was already in double hermit mode. Naruto radiated great strength and confidence in his victory. Naruto rushed at Madara again. Now the taijutsu battle was going smoothly. The shinobi blocked every blow and tried to respond with their own, but always ran into a block. Madara began to fight in earnest. After 5 minutes of dancing, there was no other way to call it. Naruto was able to fire a series of blows at Madara, after which the latter was forced to break the distance. Madara began to quickly put together seals for the technique. Naruto, having recognized the seals, began to make the same ones, but with one difference, he did it much faster than Madara. Therefore, having begun to make seals much later than the enemy, they used the techniques simultaneously. Kato, great fiery destruction, was heard from Madara. Anton, the great flame of purgatory, Naruto blew out exactly the same wall of fire as Madara. The great Uchiha invested 3 times more chakra into the technique than Naruto. However, this did not help. Naruto's technique neutralized Madara's technique and also caused him damage. Madara, who has already laid down the Edo Tensei cancellation seals. He became alive again, which means he can be killed. When the dust settled, the blonde saw that in the place where Madara had previously stood, there was now a blue, ghostly warrior. "Susanoo! Deidara, C2 bomb, just pour in more chakra." "Fuck this, Susanoo!" Naruto yelled. Deidara, who was busy preparing for the fight, reacted instantly. He created 2 clay snakes that wrapped themselves around Susanoo. "Art is an explosion," was heard from somewhere above. At the same moment, a huge explosion was heard, which smashed Susanoo to pieces. Madara managed to escape from the attack at the very last moment, but he still received damage. Okay, stop playing with you, Madara said, and ran towards Akatsuki. Madara ran quite quickly. He intended to kill everyone here. But before he could run halfway, Naruto stood in his way and again forced a taijutsu fight. Madara, changing his eyes to the rinnegan, used Shinra Tensei. He put a lot of chakra into this technique, and therefore Naruto flew away a couple of meters. Madara found himself next to Kakuzu. The god of shinobi started a battle in taijutsu, in which he unconditionally defeated his opponent. Madara destroyed all 4 hearts with a deft blow and cut off Kakuzu's left hand with his wakizashi. Madara didn't know that many here were Jinchuriki. And then when he saw that someone came up and started pouring chakra into Kakuzu, he didn't even move. He forced a taijutsu fight with Kisame, but quickly knocking Samehada out of his hands, Kisame used the cover of the 3 tails. Kisame began to fight equally with Madara, but a powerful blow that broke all the fishman's bones put an end to their level of strength. Jiraiya, entering hermit mode, began to fight with Madara, but quickly flew into the nearest tree. Orochimaru rushed to help those who were on the verge, namely Kakuzu, Kisame, and Jiraiya. Madara began a fight with the priest of Jashin. The fight was long and difficult. One could say that Haiden was simply being beaten by the god of shinobi in an attempt to take the latter's blood. Madara was tired of this circus, and then he simply cut off Haiden's head in one movement, who was able to accidentally wound Madara. Naruto, having recovered from the head blow, sat and examined the battlefield. Jiraiya, Kisame, Kakuzu, Sasori are now in very serious condition. Hidan can't fight. Orochimaru is healing everyone. Explosions are heard somewhere in the distance. Nagato lies unconscious. Naruto began to slowly stand up, anger beginning to boil inside him. Suddenly, Madara appeared in front of him, who was about to finish off the blonde. He raised his hand to pierce him right through. Naruto simply looked at the brunette. He could not dodge the blow, and therefore had already accepted death. When there were only a few seconds left before death, Deidara appeared between Madara and Naruto, and was pierced instead of Naruto. Forgive me. Sorry, Dun. Deidara managed to say as he fell dead. He died with a smile on his face. He died protecting the person most dear to him. He had nothing to regret about the man who became his brother. He died so that his friend could live. He did his best. All extraneous sounds mixed into one, and then simply disappeared. All that Naruto saw now was Deidara's body, each time replaying his last words, each time remembering how much fun they had. He didn't deserve to die so early. Is it because I'm weak? Damn, how I hate myself. Why did you die, Day? Why? How can I live without you? Explain to me? Kay, how? The blonde was thinking in his head. From a huge amount of emotions, Naruto fainted for a short time. He appeared in his subconscious, where the sage of the 6 paths sat right in front of him. Hello, Naruto-kun. How are you? The sage asked cheerfully. Oh, it's you, Rikudo-sama. Nothing to do. I lost what was most precious to me. Deidara died right before my eyes. Damn, I'm so weak that I couldn't even protect him. I'm a terrible leader and friend. Calm down, Naruto. With the power of your eyes, namely the second ability, you can resurrect any person, but the cooldown for the ability is 10 years. Therefore, you need to defeat Madara and then resurrect your friend, but don't let anyone else die, understand? Naruto nodded and disappeared from his subconscious. Naruto woke up, and in time, Madara stood right in front of him with his wakizashi raised. He was already ready to kill Naruto when he suddenly appeared behind him and sent him 40 meters away with a powerful blow. Orochimaru, don't let anyone else die. I can't stand another death. Naruto shouted before running towards Madara. Naruto started the fight with taijutsu in which he could be said to beat the shinobi god. Naruto fought with cold fury in his eyes. Madara used a completed Susanoo and then jumped away from Naruto. Naruto began to form seals to destroy Susanoo. Hiaton, the fall of Niflheim. It became cold around. A huge stream of ice rushed towards Madara's Susanoo. Naruto, after using the technique, at one moment found himself next to Madara and smashed Susanoo with a powerful blow. Due to the effect of the technique, Susanoo was frozen to the bone, which means breaking him was not difficult. Naruto took out his father's kunai and poured chakra into it. A couple of seconds later, Minato stood next to him and looked at Naruto. "Father, run there!" Naruto showed the direction with his hand. "There are seriously wounded people lying there. You will now move them to the hospital and God forbid one of them will die. Leave Deidara like this. This is my order. Run, he's already coming. If you die too, I won't forgive myself." "Okay, I'll be back soon," Minato said. "Don't you dare come back here, or do you want to die?" Naruto asked. Madara came out of the bushes towards Naruto, with the rinnegan in his eyes. Banshu Tenin, it was heard from Madara. Naruto was suddenly pulled somewhere. But Naruto was not afraid, and having unsealed his katana, he put it right in front of him. Naruto was getting closer and closer to Madara. When only a meter separated them, Madara said Shinra Tensei. Without being confused, Naruto spoke Shinra Tensei to him in unison. As a result, both techniques met in the center. Naruto's technique was stronger, and therefore Madara flew 40 meters away. He was shocked. It turns out that someone also has the rinnegan. Before Madara had time to think about anything else, he was pierced by strange blood-red chains. Chains of hell. That's what Naruto called this technique. Black chains were stuck into his legs, and red chains held him down. Madara looked at Naruto in horror, in whose eyes there was now a thirst for revenge. Madara already realized that he could not win this battle, and therefore decided to proudly accept his death. "You couldn't even save your friend. You're a bad leader," Madara mocked with all his strength. "You are right. I'm sure he blames you for everything." Madara didn't have time to finish because he lost his head. But Madara left one gift for Naruto, and before being beheaded, he cut off the blonde's left hand. Naruto did not have time to tell Madara that he was depriving him of his soul for rebirth, that he could not be summoned again with an individual of Edo Tensei. It turned out that Naruto put another complex seal on his katana, which, if the user wishes, can destroy a person's soul. Naruto incinerated the shinobi's body and returned to the clearing to Deidara. Naruto's memory flashed back to how he had used this technique in the past. Genetic memory? Naruto thought to himself. Naruto began to slowly form one-handed seals. He was afraid of making a mistake. He wanted to believe that Deidara would come to life again. Naruto made the last seal and placed his hands on Deidara's chest. After a couple of minutes, the Demolition Man's heart began beating again. Naruto was in seventh heaven. Naruto sat and waited patiently for Deidara to come to his senses. "Dana, am I alive? But how?" Deidara bombarded him with questions. "My second eye ability, technique rollback for 10 years. "Thank you, Dana. I am forever in your debt." After these words, Naruto simply hugged Deidara and fainted. He ran out of absolutely all his chakra. At this time in Konoha, all the doctors were working to prevent the 4 apostates from dying. Kakuzu was in critical condition. Kisame was already on the mend. Itachi and Shisui, who were found nearby with burns and abrasions, were in normal condition, but they would not have been able to fight for another month. Jiraiya was also in serious condition. Most of his bones were broken, his arm was torn off. Tsunade herself treated Jiraiya. She could not entrust his life to someone else, because if he died, she simply would not forgive herself. Sasori was also on the mend. Hidan at that time was not himself. He couldn't sit still, but he sat because he's a fucking simple head without a body. "Hey head, sorry, I just don't know your name. Who were you fighting against? Who could upset you all so much?" Minato asked Hidan. "Madara. Uchiha Madara. Damn him by the leg. How's the leader doing? I wonder? Did he win?" Hidan said quietly. When Minato heard this, he was shocked. After a couple of seconds, he disappeared in a yellow flash and a clap of thunder. Minato appeared right in the center of the clearing, where Naruto's body lay. He was missing one arm, and quite a lot of blood had already flowed out of him. Next to him sat Deidara, who was bandaging Naruto's hand. There was no living space on the blondes. Naruto was covered in burns. Deidara had a lot of blood in the chest area, as if someone had recently fatally wounded him in the chest. Minato found 3 tied-up cage next to the blondes. Minato, without thinking twice, moved everyone to Konoha. He ended up right next to Hidan. Deidara, who did not expect this, prepared for battle, but when he saw Hidan, he calmed down. Minato quickly carried Naruto to the room. Shizune took over. Deidara at that moment was discussing with Hidan what they would do next. The first thing Hidan said was that they would all drink themselves into oblivion. They all survived a walking fuck. Deidara agreed with this. Then they discussed the affairs of the organization. Konan came running to the guys, who, at Naruto's request, stayed in the lair, but somehow found out that they were all in Konoha now. Konan immediately asked where Naruto was and what was wrong with him. Deidara explained everything to her and then calmed her down and said that nothing bad had happened. Naruto will definitely survive and the like. Konan calmed down and sat down next to her. They were all waiting for the doctors, who were about to come out and explain everything to them. A couple of minutes later, a tired Tsunade came down to them. Naruto is in critical condition, with many fractures and his left arm severed. He lost a lot of blood. Now, we only deal with it. Jiraiya will come to his senses in a couple of days. Kakuzu is on the mend, and will also come to his senses in a couple of days. Itachi and Shisui are already eager to get out, and therefore we will discharge them in a couple of hours. Nagato is already checking out. Sasori will also be discharged in a couple of days. Kisame will be discharged along with Itachi. He turns out to be a Jinchuriki, Tsunade said, looking at the Akatsuki members. Minato-sama, can you teleport to the site of our battle and find Naruto's hand? And also Kakuzu's hand, if it's not too difficult. Hidan asked, looking at his body. No, my seal is not there, Minato answered honestly. Then I'll fly there. I'll be here in a day. Don't be bored, Heed. At the same time, I'll find Jiraiya's hand, said the departing Deidara. Why do you need the hand of Naruto, Jiraiya, and Kakuzu? Asked Tsunade. To sew it back, Kakuzu will be able to do this, and therefore we are not too worried about the severed limbs. Well, except for the head. Hidan answered laughing. Tsunade looked at him as if he were sick and went about her business. An hour later, Shisui and Itachi came out to the guys. It turned out that the Jinchuriki had decent security, which had to be killed. And then there was the fight with the Jinchuriki, but everything worked out. Itachi and Shisui learned the results of the battle between Naruto and Madara. Another hour later, Sasori arrived. When the puppeteer arrived, they waited for Nagato, who was busy with political affairs with the Hokage. The company went home, which Minato allocated for them. 2 days later, Kisame was discharged, barely able to walk due to the fact that almost every bone in his body was broken. Jiraiya also came to his senses and was discharged after a couple of hours. Naruto was still unconscious. Although he was in a stable condition, he did not regain consciousness. Over the next week, Nagato and Minato were busy creating a new country and, subsequently, a new great hidden village. Deidara spent all his time in the hospital. He waited for Naruto to wake up. Konan was also in the hospital all the time. Kisame, Itachi, and Shisui walked around Konoha. The village was beautiful. Itachi and Shisui were going to visit home today. In the evening, Itachi and Shisui entered Fugaku's house. Mikoto didn't believe it at first when she saw 2 Uchihas. When she closed her eyes and counted to 10, then opening her eyes, she saw 2 laughing Uchihas. At the sound of laughter, Sasuke came downstairs, who froze when he saw Itachi and Shisui. Will you finally return to the village? The younger brother asked hopefully. I'm sorry, Sasuke, but we can't leave our family, Shisui said. Aren't we your family? Are we strangers to you? Sasuke shouted. He was angry at Shisui for his words. You are also family, but Itachi's family. And Akatsuki has become my full-fledged family. Forgive me for telling you this, after everything you did for me. Shisui apologized. We always knew that one day you would find those you could call your family, said Fugaku, who was not noticed by anyone. Thank you for everything, Mikoto-sama, Fugaku-sama, and Sasuke-sama. And thank you, Itachi, you have become a brother to me. But now our paths diverge. I am sure that you and I will often intersect. Shisui said and started to leave, but he heard something that shocked him. Mom, Dad, I can't stay either. As much as I don't want to, I have to be near Naruto. That's where I belong. He was able to unite a bunch of renegades into one family in which everyone takes care of each other. I can't leave them. I truly became part of their family. But don't be afraid. I will come to you often. Sasuke train more and you'll catch up with me, or even Naruto in terms of strength. Itachi said, smiling. Naruto, what is stronger than you? Sasuke asked skeptically. He did not believe that Naruto could be stronger than Itachi. Naruto single-handedly defeated Madara Uchiha. I don't think I would have been able to cope with such an opponent, Itachi said, and everyone in the room except Shisui froze in shock. Itachi and Shisui began to tell them everything, how they lived and what they did. They talked all night, and that's why Sasuke came to the academy today like a zombie. Everything seemed to be starting to get better. All that remains is to wait for Naruto and decide what to do with the organization. Akatsuki is a symbol of peace. 3 days later, Naruto's POV. Damn, my whole body hurts. What happened? It feels like I don't have a left hand. What happened anyway? That's how I remember we started the battle against the cage. And then, Madara. Damn you. I hope Orochimaru managed to save everyone. I hope he didn't let them die. I need to go. Naruto, breathing heavily, began to rise from the bed. He pulled out all the needles from the IVs that were stuck into him. Naruto slowly but surely began to look for a way out of the hospital. He had been here often in the past, so finding a way out was not much of a problem. Within 5 minutes, Naruto was able to go outside. He slowly walked towards his former home. Residents on the street looked after him in surprise. No one said anything, but judging by the expression on their faces, they saw a dead man who had risen from the dead. Naruto reached home in 20 minutes. When he knocked on the door, no one answered. Naruto pulled the door, and it opened. So it's not closed, the blonde thought to himself. Naruto carefully entered the house. When he reached the kitchen, he saw Minato sleeping at the table. Naruto came over and sat quietly next to him, but Minato still woke up. When he saw his son sitting next to him, he was surprised. After all, according to doctors' forecasts, he should come to his senses only after a week. Dad, I need help. Can you carry me to the remaining Jinchuriki? Naruto asked. Minato made the seals and said Kai. For the first time, his son, who should now be in a coma, asked him for something. Minato didn't know whether to rejoice or cry. Okay, let's go, but first I'll get dressed, Minato said as he went up to the second floor. A couple of minutes later, Minato, dressed in a cloak, brought down the Hokage, and they went to the place where the Jinchuriki were kept. As they walked through the village, they talked about everything. What are you planning to do now? Don't you want to return to your family? Asked Minato. I never left my family. My family is Akatsuki and you. The rest are just acquaintances to me. I won't come back to you because I'll be very busy all this time. Still, we need to choose new cages and decide what to do with the organization, Naruto answered. After his son's words, Minato became a little sad, but he heard something that lifted his spirits. Don't worry, I'll try to see you more often. When you stop being Hokage, come to us, we will always accept you, Naruto said, smiling. Wait, you didn't know? Naruto just looked at his father questioningly. The Raikage, Tsuchikage, and Kazekage were publicly executed 3 days ago, and the new Kage were Gaara, Kurotsuchi, and B. All countries abandoned the war, and we all signed a peace treaty together. And this means you were able to build a world, Minato said proudly. Not completely yet. A couple of minutes later, Minato and Naruto arrived. Naruto performed his usual procedure, and each tailed creature agreed to Naruto's terms. Naruto had already taken chakra from the 5 tails and 6 tails. But when Naruto took the 7 tails chakra, something strange happened. Naruto's hair began to turn sharply white, but not completely. About half of it turned white. Naruto's hair became a mixed color, shimmering with white and yellow. It looked very beautiful. Naruto's chakra grew tenfold, and Naruto himself was pulled into his subconscious. Naruto found himself in some kind of corridor. Naruto, not understanding anything, wandered on. As a result, he came to a huge creature with 10 tails. "Wow, 10 tails! You look cute!" Naruto joked. "Father, thank you for giving me a chance to be reborn. I will not hand you over. My name is Shinji," Jubi said. "I'm not exactly your father. I'm his reincarnation." "Call me Naruto, Naruto Uzumaki. Nice to meet you, Shinju," Naruto said, smiling. "Thank you," Naruto heard before leaving his subconscious. Naruto came to his senses and saw a worried Minato. Naruto stood up and smiled and said that he was fine. He also asked his father to gather all the Akatsuki west of the village. Minato nodded and disappeared in a yellow flash. A couple of minutes later, the entire organization stood in cloaks and hats in front of their leader. Naruto himself stood only in his cloak. He looked at everyone and said, "I'm glad to see you alive, honestly. So who wants to become a Jinchuriki?" Jiraiya and Orochimaru refused, which means Shisui, Kakuzu, and Itachi remained. The 5 tails chose Itachi, the 6 tails chose Kakuzu, and the 7 tails chose Shisui. After Naruto sealed the tailed beasts, "Kurama and all the tailed lads, come out! There is a topic for conversation." After these words, all the tailed creatures appeared in the clearing. Minato saw this and almost fainted, but then watched them with interest. "Meet your brother. His name is Shinji." A white dragon, the true form of the Jubi, with 10 tails, jumped out of Naruto. Everyone who saw it was so surprised that no one could say a word. The tailed creatures themselves quickly came to their senses, and seeing that Jubi was adequate, they immediately became friends with him. Now it's time to talk about organization. Anyone who wants to leave can go. I won't keep anyone anymore. Jiraiya, Orochimaru, you can return to Konoha. I think Tsunade and Minato will be glad to see you back. Sasori, I received a letter recently. Chiyo is waiting for you in Suna. The new Kazekage has removed your Nukenin status. Kisame Mei also removed your status as a criminal, and she also seems to have fallen for you, so you can go into the fog to your homeland. Itachi and Shisui, the village is also waiting for you, your family. I'm sure Sasuke has been waiting for your return for a long time. Now is the time. Hidan, I'm not holding you back either. You can go wherever you want. Kakuzu, I think you already understand that I also give you the right to choose. You too can leave, or you can stay. Day, the new Tsuchikage wants to see you. She wants to make you her close one. I heard that you are like a brother to her. I can't just go and destroy happiness in general, so go and don't look back at the past. It's time for you to move into the future, Naruto said, looking at everyone. There was complete silence for 5 minutes. Minato watched with interest what was happening. I wonder who will follow my son. Who will leave the past in the past and go their own way? Oh, how I love moments like this, Minato thought to himself. But his thoughts were interrupted by Deidara, who silently left the guys and stood next to Naruto. Deidara looked at everyone and then said, I owe Dana my life. But that's not why I stay with him. I'm with him because he's my brother. He is the one who accepted me into my family. I will be with him until the end. 2 more guys left the ranks, Hidan and Kakuzu. I have nowhere to go. I'm at your disposal, Leader-sama, Kakuzu said, standing next to Naruto. I also have nowhere to go. All these fucking people look at me askance, and all because I believe in Jashin. You never looked at me askance, but on the contrary, supported me. I'm with you, Hidan said. Suddenly, another figure in a cloak and hat began to move towards Naruto. It was Shisui. Naruto. You became the light in my life. You replaced my family. I'm an orphan, even though Itachi's family was kind to me, but still something was wrong. I felt like a lousy person because I was imposing myself on them. And you accepted me into the family without hesitation. I spent the whole week going over possible options for our conversation. I even prepared a speech, but forgot it. So I'll just say that I'm with you to the end. Shisui said with a sad grin, and stood next to the guys behind Naruto. Konan stood next to Naruto without saying anything. No one needed to listen to her speech. Everyone already knew that she would always be with him. But the next person really shocked Naruto. Orochimaru came out next. Naruto-sama, when you took me in, I really thought it was a joke and laughs about family. I was sure that even you would hate me, but no one gave me even a distrustful glance. That's why I decided that I couldn't spit in the face and leave the one who sheltered me, Orochimaru said, standing behind Naruto. Another man came out immediately behind Orochimaru. This was someone Naruto didn't expect to see. Jiraiya. Minato stood in shock and watched as his teacher became a renegade. He was about to intervene, but Naruto did it first. Jiraiya, don't you dare! Don't you dare ruin your life! You can't become a Nukenin. Go back to the village and live for yourself. No, Naruto. Since you don't want to take me voluntarily, you'll have to force. Jiraiya suddenly smiled unkindly. Orochimaru, help your old friend. Heh, with pleasure. Naruto, do you remember that you bet me on my wish? So I will use it, and you will accept Jiraiya into our ranks, Orochi said, licking his lips. You're playing dirty, Godfather, but I will be glad to see you in my organization. That's great, I'm glad I can be useful, Jiraiya said, standing next to Orochimaru. Itachi, Kisame, Nagato, and Sasori remained standing opposite Naruto. Just as Itachi was about to take a step, Naruto stopped him. You three will have an important mission. You will follow every step of the village. Itachi will watch over Konoha, Kisame will watch over Kiri. Sasori will keep an eye on Suna, and Nagato will become Amakage. This way, you will live a happy life, but will not leave us. With the help of rings, you will be connected to me every Monday at 7 a.m. Do you understand everything? The answer was 4 nods. Thank you, Naruto, Itachi said, looking at Sasuke running towards them. Live a normal life. You've been pretty battered by your life as a Nukenin. We will visit you from time to time, so wait for us. Naruto smiled. After everyone said goodbye, Naruto and the organization moved towards Ame. Sasori walked towards Suna. Kisame went towards Kiri, and Itachi and Minato looked after the great man who managed to build the world. Itachi looked for a long time at the place where everyone had gone. He thought about whether he had done the right thing, how his family will treat him after such a long separation. But his thoughts quickly disappeared when he was dragged into Sasuke's house. See you later, Naruto-dana, Sasuke heard out of the corner of his ear, which was very surprising. A couple of days later, the organization reached AIM. Before leaving, Nagato said only a few words. You have become a good leader and person. Take care of yourself and them. Good luck to you, Nagato, and remember, you are still members of our organization. Already in the Akatsuki hideout, they threw a crazy drinking party. Naruto and Hidan came and brought 20 cases of sake. The holiday lasted exactly 5 days. For 5 days and 5 nights, the Akatsuki drank and had fun. When they finally drank all the sake, they simply passed out and slept for about a week. When Itachi, Sasori, Kisame, and Nagato appeared with the report, they saw only 7 unconscious bodies and Konan, who was looking at them and laughing. They celebrated their victory quite well. I even regret that I left so early, Kisame said. It was fun here, Itachi answered, looking at the guys. Did you want something? Konan answered through laughter. Yes, I will report the situation, but I think now is not the time, Sasori said. I'll tell Naruto as soon as he comes to his senses. Tell us. Konoha will fully support Akatsuki. They have no complaints against us. Now the village has begun to prosper again. No war is brewing, Itachi replied. Everything is just as calm in Suna. They are ready to fully support Akatsuki. Everyone in Suna is now happy that they got off easy. Gaara is a kind but wise ruler. That's why I'm happy with everything. No conflicts are brewing, answered the puppeteer. All is well in Kiri. The Mizukage admires the actions of Akatsuki, which means be supportive. No conflicts are expected either. Thank you, you are free. 10 years later, Akatsuki changed its image. Now their cloaks look different. The tails of the cloak were burgundy, which faded to red and then orange. The top was blue, and the hood was silvery white. On the back was the kanji for dawn. On the front was written the name of the person wearing the cloak. Naruto's cloak was slightly different. It had a golden hood. The old attribute of the cloak has also been preserved, namely red clouds. Now red clouds were embroidered one at a time on the front and back. But the straw hats never changed. During these 10 years, no one dared to start hostilities. And so the world has finally settled down to peace. Nagato became the cage of the village hidden in the rain. The Akatsuki organization monitored the world and carried out certain missions to earn a living. Shisui by this time had married a girl named Sora. It turned out that she was a very distant relative and was from the Uchiha clan. Deidara also found himself a girlfriend. Her name was Ai. She was also obsessed with art. Both were quite skilled kunoichi and therefore became members of the organization. Jiraiya finally married Tsunade, and Orochimaru married Anko, who also became a member of the organization. Tsunade remained in the village. By this time, Itachi had also found himself a girlfriend. Her name was Ari. She was from the Uzumaki clan. Sasuke got along with Sakura. Minato retired as Hokage and appointed Uchiha Itachi to this post. Itachi was against it, but gave in under pressure. The Inuzukas could not see a member of the Akatsuki organization as Hokage, and therefore Kiba decided to stage an uprising, which was immediately suppressed by Naruto and Deidara, who came from nowhere. They got it into the heads of the Inuzuks that one more joint and they were dead. Naruto had a son, whom they named Kurayami Asterisk. He had white hair, and his face was more like his mother, Konan. But in character, he was the spitting image of Naruto. During this time, the Akatsuki organization became a symbol of peace. They came from nowhere and suppressed any attempts at military conflict. As a result, people came to terms and they even began to like living in peace and tranquility. At the academies, future shinobi went through history, where they talked about the legendary battle between Naruto and Madara. It was said that Naruto defeated the god of shinobi at the age of 12. Also, many people wanted to get into Akatsuki, but they didn't take anyone there. Soon, Naruto even said that the organization wouldn't take anyone else in. Naruto saw Minato and Itachi often. Kisame eventually became friends with the Mizukage, which is why he was often teased. Nagato also found himself a girlfriend. She turned out to be the sister of his late friend. Sasori married Tamari, the Kazekaga's sister. Ami grew up and realized that she was wrong, but now there was no turning back. Naruto became an impregnable fortress. He stopped making new acquaintances. The ones he already had were enough for him. Ami and Kushina began to hate themselves for treating Naruto this way, but Minato supported them as best he could.